up to 40% off, and all backed by Sears.
Who's going to back you better than Sears?
One car manufacturer has more NASCAR victories than anyone. Winning over 350 NASCAR races, over 4 decades of racing. That car manufacturer is Ford. And that kind of winning performance goes beyond the winner's circle.
2, 3.
Davy Allison believes. Mario and Michael Andretti believe. Don Prudhomme believes. For complete protection, you need a complete motor oil. New Haviland Formula 3 motor oil.
Yeah.
We're back with you live at Talladega, Alabama, and here is Ernie Irvan starting third today, moving out. As we mentioned in the open, it seemed wherever Ernie Irvan goes these days, controversy follows. Last Sunday, Irvan was once again in the spotlight in the Pocono 500, lap 72. Watch here as car 4 Irvan makes contact with number 12, Hut Strickland, triggering a major incident involving several cars, including Dale Earnhardt, Schrader, and Richard Petty flying over machines, as well as Darrell Waltrip.
I see a young man with a driving style that might be good for Saturday night racing, but it just isn't going to fly here in Winston Cup. I hope I'm not the only driver that's going out on the line or out on the limb and saying how I feel, but I don't want to get hurt driving one of these race cars any more than anybody else does, and this looks like the kind of guy that could hurt you.
I think it's to the point maybe NASCAR needs to take a look at it. It seems like he comes out, he doesn't get wrecked. I like Ernie, think he's a good guy, but I'm getting tired of getting swept up in all his accidents.
The biggest problem with Ernie Irvan is he has a lot better equipment than he's a driver. That's number one problem. Number two problem, the boy can't tell the truth from a lie. You know, if you look through the accident that he caused here in Talladega and the one in Pocono, both times he denied that he had anything to do with it. You know, Ray Charles could see that he caused both of those accidents, and why he's not man enough to come and admit that he made a mistake and just and patch the fences with everybody else, I don't know. He keeps denying all he's doing and making it worse for everybody.
I told him the other day, I said, I'll tell you the same thing I told Earnhardt. I said, we'll race each other, you hit me, I'm going to crash you. And I've never had any problem with Irvan, I haven't had any problem with Earnhardt. And if they ever touch me, I'm going to wipe them out. And so if you got that idea with them, you're not going to have a problem. And that's the way it is.
I've talked to a few of the drivers this week and some of the car owners, and you know, I've lost a lot of respect. I've lost the respect of a lot of drivers and a lot of car owners in this garage area, and that hurts. I've drove a little bit over aggressive some. I'm going to work on trying to be a little more patient and want to earn everybody's respect back. I like to be liked in the garage area, and appreciate it maybe if you guys give me a shot at it. And I definitely want to be everybody's friend in here.
Well, I tell you, it took a lot of nerve to get up and say that in front of all the drivers, but he has had quite a bit of criticism. He's a great race driver, has a great future ahead of him. Chris, you were at that meeting this morning. What were your feelings?
Well, I know that humble pie is bitter pie to eat, but I have to admire Ernie Irvan. I expect we'll see a change in it.
Rusty Wallace was saying after that, he walked up to Ernie as they walked out of the meeting and said that was a good start. It'll probably take them about 2 years to forget it.
Well, Rusty knows. He had an image one time to overcome himself.
Well, here we go. Here's Sterling Marlin with the Junior Johnson number 22 up on the point. One of the cars that has been really running well in the last practice yesterday, picked up a 2nd and 2, was Ken Schrader. Now, that car is well back in the field. There he is, and he is going to come, I think, charging, really making some move. Ken Schrader, Ken Squire with CBS. Do you read us?
Yeah, Ken, I hear you real good.
Okay, what's the strategy for you as we settle down to get this one going?
Well, we're back here in 25th, and that don't pay real good, so we're going to get to the front quick.
Real quick?
Well, as quick as this thing will go up there.
Kenny, how tough is it going to be to pass?
Well, I don't think it's going to be real easy, but there at the start there for about 3 or 4 laps, everybody stays side by side. You can usually get quite a few cars picked off at the start if you're hustling.
Kenny, is that one of those new cool helmets you're wearing?
Yes, it is. It's a RAFO cool system, and I'll tell you what, it's working wonderful.
Because that is a real factor here today.
Oh, it is, with the humidity as high as it is and the air temperature, too. I feel sorry for the drivers out there today. I'm glad we're up here in the booth.
Thank you, Kenny, and now we're settling down. They'll take another preliminary lap and then underway with the Die Hard 500.
The preliminary lap that they'll be bringing, they'll come down pit road right now, and they're coming down pit road to adjust the drivers of the speed that they'll be permitted to run on pit road today, which is 70 miles per hour. Now let's go to the pits and Chris Economax.
Well, you know, I look at the lineup here. I've been around racing all my life, and I have never seen a higher quality field than is on the track today. There are 41 men out there. 22 of them have won races on the Tough Winston Cup circuit. 5 of them are national champions. Altogether, 485 victories have been recorded by the men in today's race, and it is ironic that the man on the pole, Sterling Martin, has yet to win.
That's a really impressive figure as you see this field going back up onto the 33-degree banking of the first and second turn. That is Davey Allison. There's his tack, giving him an idea what 70 miles per hour will register, Ned.
That's exactly the reason NASCAR brings them down pit road, is so that whatever gear they're going to be in coming down pit road, they can look down at their tachometer, and Davey is using a digital tack, which is relatively new in Winston Cup racing. Most of the time they have used the circle tack that, you know, has the numbers on there, but this is much easier to read for him, and of course they know how they can, how fast they are going by the RPMs. We understand that Dale Jarrett has an oil leak already. Boy, he's had some problems this week. The Wood Brothers have changed the engines already 5 times in that car.
Back and forth a couple of the engines.
Yeah.
These are all new engines. Let's go to Mike Joy.
And Ken, two engine changes this morning. Jeff Bodine's team changed an engine in the Junior Johnson car, and also Team 3, Barry Dodson and crew, changed an engine for driver Dick Trickle, and due to lengthy inspection to check spoiler heights and angles, they almost didn't make it out to the starting line. Arrived here just 2 minutes before the command to fire engine.
41 cars in the turn 3, 9 previous winners in the field. The Ford's up in the front row for the 4th time in 91. Chris?
Well, we talked to Leonard Wood this morning, Dale Jarrett's car, and I said, how you feel? He said, I feel fine. He said, but my car's sick. So, Ned, I think Dale's got a problem.
He's got a long day ahead of him, I think, Chris.
All right, coming to the line. 10th time a Ford has been on the pole in the 17 races thus far in 1991. Those Chevys locked right behind them in the second row, numbers 4 and 3, Urban and Earnhardt, as the field gets ready to skedaddle down here into turn number 1 and get this thing going. Green is on. Even on the brake. And staying even up into turn 2.
Takes a while to get the speed up with those restrictor plates on these engines, Ken. In fact, it takes them a full lap to get up to full speed.
Harry Gant was saying this morning that, said, you know, on an even 1 here, said, running with those restrictor plates just isn't that much fun. If you get out of line even a little, there's nothing you can do. You just have to wait. You have to be very patient. Let's see who's...
Well, we see that outside line moving very good. Sterling Marlin down the inside has already dropped back to about 5th position. Mark Martin has moved up front with Dale Earnhardt right on his back bumper, and then Bill Elliott.
And Chad Little has pulled up as well. Remember, he started 6th up there battling in the 4th position as they move around. Here's your leader. Chad Little right up on that outside group, trying to move through. That is not the leader. That's back in that 4th spot. You see Sterling Marlin side by side and the 3 in front. Hustling down into corner number 1. It's Mark Martin in front, then the Chevrolet of Earnhardt and Bill Elliott, who ran so well at Daytona. With Darrell Waltrip, there's Hut Strickland. I'll tell you, I think Hut Strickland's chances, even though that's a Buick, and the Fords and the Chevy seem to be the story here, he has been strong in practice, and particularly strong yesterday afternoon, as was Schrader.
And I think he'll get stronger as the race goes on, and the track maybe gets a little bit slicker. The sun hasn't shined on the track too much here today to make it very slick, but that's when Hut Strickland will really start going, and so will Earnhardt, although he's up there right now.
Martin for the lead, Earnhardt second. And as they come by with 2 laps down, going back into the turn, you see Bill Elliott right there. Here's Mark Martin, races he's run this year, and the positions he's gone up in the points. Now being challenged by Earnhardt. A little help from Bill Elliott in the 9 car. Back straight.
And a spin on turn 2. The car has spun around, coming around turn 2. As the leaders go into turn 3, it was the car number 90 of Wally Dallenbach.
Wally Dallenbach's number 90. Grazing the wall. He didn't get into it hard. He spun and collected the wall just at the end of the incident. Backs it into the wall. Looks like it could be terminal for car number 90 in the Dunleavy crew today. Back to the wire.
Dale Earnhardt's going to lead it, get himself 5 Winston Cup bonus points.
Bill Elliott pulls up into second as they cross the line. This incident taking place on Colorado's Wally Dallenbach as they were getting into the 3rd lap. Turn 1, it started to break away. Turn 2, it went around, and it finds the outside wall at the exit of turn 2 off the 33-degree banking. We will return with more live coverage of the Die Hard 500 from the Talladega Superspeedway after this message and a word from your local station.
Pennzoil, at home in America. Indy racing, off-road racing, drag racing. We've been driving a long time to get to this one. NASCAR USA. Pennzoil is there. We've got the car. We've got the team. We've got the driver.
And if they got the oil, Pennzoil.
Pennzoil. Ever since America learned to drive.
You know you got to get somewhere? You better know who you can trust.
Sears Brake Inspections. They're free 7 days a week.
But I'm not going to trust my car to just anyone.
And Sears Brake Service is so complete, it's backed by Sears Guarantee.
When they say it's guaranteed, it's guaranteed.
And right now, Sears Front Disc Brake Service is as low as $48. Stop at Sears and stop with confidence.
Who's going to back you better than Sears?
Some of the biggest crowds on the tour will be on hand for some of the most exciting PGA action. The Canon Greater Hartford Open continuing today on CBS Sports. This is CBS.
Everybody thinks I'm such a nice guy. Until they try to guard me.
Make your move. Call for your tickets today.
Right now at Princess Furniture, you can furnish your living room, family room, or master bedroom with a complete 7-piece set for just $8.99.
Select this contemporary black and white living room set with sofa, love seat, or chaise, plus tables and lamps.
Or get this 7-piece family room for just $8.99.
Get this elegant 7-piece black lacquer bedroom set, or this stylish oak and mirror bedroom.
Both include quality Serta mattress and foundation.
Your choice, just $8.99.
With over 1,000 room settings on sale, choose the style that's right for you at Princess Furniture.
And the forecast for tomorrow is John Bolaris. That's right, Philadelphia. Channel 10's own John Bolaris will be filling in for me on CBS this morning at 7. Oh, what a beautiful morning.
The beautiful Victoria Principal and funny man Bob Goldthwait on the next Live.
Monday morning at 9 on Channel 10.
Channel 10 Sports, my kind of team.
Picking up Wally Dallenbach Jr.'s car out of turn number 2 after a wild slide. He had started in 26th position. He was running by himself.
Yes, he was. He had dropped back at the back of the pack in and was totally by himself. And the car got squirrely as he went around turn 1 and then into turn 2. It just looped around. It looked like it was going to be okay. And then it spun on around and got into the wall. Here we see him going around one more time. So quite a bit of damage to the Junior Dunleavy Ford. They had a new sponsor on that car today.
So here, after 4 laps, is the way they're running, with Earnhardt in first, Bill Elliott in second, Sterling Marlin, the pole sitter, back to third. Mark Martin, who'd set up in the front row, is fourth, and Rusty Wallace finds himself in fifth. Now, further back in the field, Ken Schrader had started in 25th, and he has fallen back a couple of positions to 27th. Ken Schrader, this is CBS Control. Do you read us?
Yeah, we're not doing too good so far, are we?
Did you get caught in the wrong row on that start?
Well, I just, my shifting skills aren't the best. I didn't shift up through the gears real good and made a couple wrong moves, but we're not done.
I tell you, sometimes it's hard getting to know which move to make out there, isn't it?
Well, it is when, you know, your decisions are based on everybody else's, and when they don't know exactly which way they're going yet, it's hard for you to anticipate it, but I was a little surprised. I thought we'd get more than the first couple laps, but we'll be okay.
Well, if this makes you feel any better, now Sterling Marlin started on the pole on the inside row, and so did Hugh, and Sterling on the first lap went back to about 5th place on the inside row. So that had to back you up some.
Yeah, that must have been the problem,
Well, of course,
yeah. That must have been the problem.
All right, we'll be back with more live coverage from the Die Hard 500 at the Talladega Superspeedway in Alabama following these messages.
Ford Trucks. The best never rests.
Look, everybody knows our full-size pickup's priced less than Chevy, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's just for starters. This study shows the F-150 will cost less to operate. And look, it'll hold its value better than a Chevy. It's more than a good truck. It's a good investment.
More people are driving the best-built, best-selling American trucks than ever before.
A company can learn a lot in 125 years. Valvoline has. You learn in the lab, you learn on the road, you learn on the racetrack. As you learn, you make your product better. And better, and better. Today's Valvoline will keep your engine cleaner than ever before. And cleaner means more protection against engine wear. 125 years of quality. That's why people who know use Valvoline.
Before this, you never heard of cold filtered. Before this, you never heard of genuine draft taste in a bottle. Now hear this. Get out of the old, get into the cold.
Cold filter taste what it's all about. Never heat pasteurized, so the rich, smooth taste don't cook out. For those who discover its real draft taste, the world can be a very cool place.
Get out of the old, get into the cold. Miller Genuine Draft.
Because there's a man planning his retirement. Because there's a family hoping to send their kids to college. Because every investor is different, with dreams all their own, Dean Witter measures success one investor at a time.
Perhaps you're losing a little money on annual credit card fees. Perhaps you should use the card that charges no annual fee. And keep your money where it belongs. It pays to discover.
Relive the great years of the Great American Race in this new CBS Sports home video. To order by credit card, call 1-800-999-VIDEO. Daytona, drama, danger, dedication. Includes this year's 500, and it's only $19.98 plus $3 shipping and handling.
With 6 of 188 laps complete, Davey Allison's car in 10th is giving us this picture of the number 30 car. Michael Waltrip has made a good move. He's come from 13th in the starting grid up to 9th position. Getting set for a start again. Let's go down to Mike Joy.
Well, Ken, here's how they're keeping cool in the Kyle Petty pit. This is a cool Dana. It's a bandana with a slot for gel encased in plastic and then frozen. Reusable, goes around the neck and keeps you kind of cool. The drivers are using this device called a Parker pumper. Uses a Simpson or a Bell helmet with this inlet and pumps cool air up through the chin piece at the driver's face. The cool air is taken in by this regular automotive heater squirrel cage blower, and it blows into a pretty standard looking cooler, inside which is this finned aluminum tool and this tube, and this is packed in ice, and then it blows out through there and into the driver's helmet. Very basic, but very effective. Coming soon, you won't believe this, air conditioning for race cars. Yes, regular automotive air conditioning with an evaporator and a condenser, and it should be ready for these cars in about 4 weeks. Too late for Talladega. Neil?
I tell you what, Mike Joy, I used those cool suits before in my race car, and I always told you it was easier driving a race car and doing that. If you look at the sweat on me right here, I'm ready to get back in one of those cars and turn the cool suit on. I tell you, it's hot. They even had the temperature to tell you how hot it gets at this particular racetrack a few years ago. The fire extinguishers were actually blowing up in the cars. They had to design new relief valves and extinguishers because it was so hot. They had to change everything in these cars, and I'm ready to break out my cool suit right now. And I need it.
Those things were set for, what, 170 degrees? Wasn't that the temperature reading?
Yeah, sure was, Ken, and they were. Everybody thought the cars were blowing engines. You'd see the guy pull the inside, and he just couldn't see because he was full of foam inside the car, so they had to go to work on that end of it also.
Well, the new air conditioning cannot come soon enough for one Bill Elliott, who was parboiled down there at Daytona this year.
Boy, he certainly was in Victory Lane. It was very, very hot, humid, as it is here today.
I think we've got a temperature gauge right now. This is Schrader's car.
That's not too bad. Just a little over 100 degrees. Not bad at all. Of course, he's running under caution right now. And the green flag is out. It won't be caution long. In fact, it isn't.
I think that stove is on preheat. Here we come to the line, and as they get back to racing, blown rear tires to report on Dallenbach's car. The reason he spun. Earnhardt, Elliott, Marlin, Martin, Wallace, the front five. 6 is Ernie Irvin. 7th, Chad Little. 8th, Kowicki. 9th, Michael Waltrip. 10th, Davey Allison. 11th, Bodine as they get back under green. Back to full speed by the time they're into 3. Earnhardt doesn't usually come out and lead those early laps. Led by lap 3 and picked up those bonus points. There's Elliott hanging right in second.
Again, yesterday in practice, Earnhardt was super confident. He went out in the early minutes of the practice, ran about a half a dozen laps, took the car back in the garage and covered it up, declared he was ready to go, and apparently he was.
There's the shuffle, and here's Ernie Irvin coming to the inside, making a run, trying for third. Then underneath Sterling Marlin. Sterling nearly won this race back in '86 when Bobby Hillin came home first. Last lap, he and Allison got tangled up down here in turn number 1. Bobby Hillin won his one and only race. Side by side into the back straightaway. The number 4 on the inside, Irvin, the man of controversy as we come to this race. And let's look a little further back here. Ken Schrader trying to get sorted out. He said yesterday, we're ready to go to the front. Now, he's closing up on Alabama's Stan Smith, who was involved in one of those pit road incidents a year ago here at Talladega.
Looks like it has a crack in the windshield, Ken, already. Yeah, that's a pretty good crack. That could become a problem for him later on, don't know.
Helmet cam giving you a little sense of what it's really like in there.
I'll tell you, he's bouncing around quite a bit.
Through the 18-degree tri-oval, back and front. Earnhardt leading, Elliott second. The number 22, Sterling Marlin right there. Mark Martin holding on in 4th. And Rusty Wallace on the outside sweeps up into 5th as Ernie Irvin falls to 6th. 7th is Kowicki going down the back straightaway. Speed up to over 190 miles per hour now as you watch them entering turn 3. Little in the 19 car, who qualified in 6 and qualified very well at Daytona as well, still very much a factor among these lead cars.
Now we're riding in Ken Schrader's car and see if we can get a feel of the banking going into turn 1 as he follows Stan Smith in there. Boy, see how much banking it is?
33 degrees. That's what it really looks like. Great camera angle, isn't it?
Yes, it really is. That's the first time I've seen that particular shot. That's very good. Schrader is really not doing what I expected him to do. He's sitting back there still in the, what, about 27th position, so he really hasn't moved up, and that is a little surprising. You can see a lot of daylight between he and Stan Smith and the front pack up there. They've dropped back quite a bit.
Here he is into that 18-degree corner, the tri-oval area of the track, start-finish line area. That's what 18 degrees looks like. We'll take him down here into turns 1 and 2 and give you a sense of 33 again. 25 car running back in 27th position. And notice how your vision is really cut off out there, Ned.
Well, it is when you go into that turn. You just have to look as far ahead as you possibly can, straight ahead, or sort of turn your head to the left a little bit when you go into the turn, because if you look straight ahead, you'll see the outside wall.
Back in front. Earnhardt the leader. Dropping further back, here you see the number 11 car, which is Jeff Bodine. He's in a struggle for the moment. Being shown in the 12th position. Trying to sort himself out and make some of a run here. Sister car, the 22 car, having a very good day up in 4th.
And there are 24 cars in this lead pack, so the field has been divided out. Then there's another pack of cars pretty far back, but 24 of them still running up in that lead pack. You can see about 18 of them there.
Getting hung out to dry, or hung on the inside to dry. Chad Little's number 19, down on the bottom, and falling back. There was a delay earlier in getting the cars out on line, and for that story, here's Neil.
Ken, there was a lot of cars that didn't get on the line early. The problem is when they start tinkering with these things with that rear spoiler, these planes, cars are going faster than most small aircraft. This is a nose panel off Davey Allison's car. These come from the factory with an added length here. You cut them to fit per car. What they were doing, they had them really close to the ground to overcome the porpoising that Ned was talking about earlier. What they did, they had them low to the ground, come to inspection, they made everybody cut them off way up here. Now everyone is concerned what it's going to do to the car in the draft. Right now, everybody's just playing with it to see what happens. We'll go down to Chris and see what's happening on that end.
We're here with Wally Dallenbach, the first man out of the race. Wally, we heard about the inspectors making the cars change before they went out on the track. Is that the problem you had that sent your car around?
No, not at all, Chris. We just cut a tire going into turn one, and really my inexperience, I didn't feel it going down, and the car felt a little bit loose going into the corners, and finally it just blew going into turn one, and that was it.
You know, you're a Trans Am champion. What's the big difference between Trans Am road racing and super speedway racing in NASCAR?
Well, there's a lot of differences. I mean, the cars are so fast here, and we run so close all the time. But it's just a terrible way to go out. We had a lot of people with Oregon here this weekend, and I hope this doesn't discourage them.
We were going to call you the Exterminator, Wally.
Well, we were ready to give him a good ride, but boy, something like that just puts you out just like that. And it really was my inexperience of not feeling the tire go down.
Well, lots of luck to you next time. Back to you, Ken.
Wally Dallenbach has put on an outstanding run here in May. Out early day, he started 32nd, charged up into the top 10 back here in that May Winston 500. From Davey Allison's perspective in car number 28, or from that front bumper perspective, he's now up to third place and closing on number 9, Bill Elliott, as they come through the tri-oval, working lap 16. Can't get too much closer than that.
No, not really, but in the draft, they do run awfully close together.
Earnhardt continuing to lead now by 2.5 car lengths. There's Davey Allison's number 28 in third. Mark Martin had been running in fourth. Sterling Marlin has just moved back around him to take over in fourth. The other guy who's mixing things up here just a tad further back is car number 30, Michael Waltrip. Davey Allison fighting it out right up among those leaders.
Then there's one driver you talked about at the top of the show, is Hutch Strickland, who felt would have a good run, and he is having a good run, but he has dropped back almost at the back of this lead pack. He's back to about 22nd position.
It's in the Bobby Allison car. He had a great run in that final practice yesterday, and I kind of thought he was going to have himself a day today.
Well, Bill Elliott's having a good day right now. Porter Earnhardt out to dry, as they say, down on the inside, and now the train's going by on the outside. Davey Allison also has gone by, but his Fords have hooked up together. Bill Elliott, then Davey Allison, and then the car number 22 of Sterling Marlin. Jeff Bodine right on his back bumper, so they're trying to hang that Chevrolet out on the inside there.
And they've pretty well done it, too. Mark Martin's coming up alongside now. And there's Earnhardt with no place to go but backwards.
Yeah, he needs some help. He says, where's one of my Chevrolet buddies? All those 6 cars, Fords on the outside there. Now here comes the car number 4. That's a Chevrolet that might help Earnhardt a little bit, but up front the Fords want to battle with each other.
And the number 30, Michael Waltrip's Pontiac, rounds out that top 10. Back for the lead, Davey Allison on the inside and sweeping to the outside. Dawsonville George's number 9, Elliott, and as he goes up the outside, there's 22, Sterling Marlin, right down to the bottom. Getting a lap time for you. Tell you just how fast they're maneuvering around this 2.6-mile High Bank Superspeedway in Alabama. The 23rd annual Die Hard 500.
Well, with those cars racing side by side, that's giving Davey Allison some free running out there by himself. He looks up in his rearview mirror and says, keep that up, fellas, I'll drive away from him.
3 of the last 6 races have been Davey's.
But they'll single out and won't let him sit out there long by himself.
Indeed, they're catching him up right now. Earnhardt finding his way right back up on the inside.
He has some momentum going into turn 1. He drives it right down on the bottom of the racetrack, and he'll get him.
There's some horsepower for you out of car number 3.
Confidence, too. When he drove down on the inside, he never lifted going into that turn. He was wide open.
Sliding by, Davey Allison comes number 22.
And you notice how quickly he got back in line. Now he wants the lead. He got back in line to pick up the draft of Dale Earnhardt, and then just built that momentum and took off.
the inside. Here comes number 30 trying to make his move. Look at this sweep by Michael Waltrip. He's going to collect himself 5 points. He's got another 400 feet out of the tri-oval to the line.
Well, he didn't get it. I don't know. It was awfully close. There was no finish as it came across there, but according to my angle, it looked like Marlin might have had him just by inches.
And Joe Rutman is coming up to challenge for second. Let's get a word from Chris.
Watching Davey Allison at the drivers' meeting this morning, 2 hours before the start of the race, Davey Allison was the only driver that attended in his driving suit. He's the leading money winner this year. Earnhardt's leading the point standing, but Allison's $925,000 leads in money. If he wins today, he'll go over $1 million on the year. He's ready.
He is, but right now, Chris, he's falling back a little, and Chad Little just made a move in turn 3. It would put your heart in your throat. The number 19 almost onto the apron as he pulls up behind car number 75, Joe Rutman.
There's Hut Strickland down on the inside. Again, he was 22nd not long ago. Here he is up there battling for 5th.
Neil Bonnet.
Ken, as we were going through inspection, we were watching all the cutting and chopping going on, and I was talking to Billy Engel, who is Mike Waltrip's crew chief, and they cut a tremendous amount of sheet metal out from under the nose panel of that car, which held the nose down. They were really questionable where they were going to be if they had hurt the car. Looks like it didn't hurt it. He's leading the race. Evidently, they made the right moves.
Might have helped him, Neil, the way he's running there right now. I'll tell you, those fellas are dicing around up there except for the last lap. Look at Hut Strickland on the inside. Caught Chad Little in the middle. Here comes Mark. Say you can't pass with a restrictor plate? How about this?
There's how Hut Strickland has moved through the standings this year. He is really on a roll. He looked tremendous up at Michigan in our CBS coverage. And here is Hut Strickland putting that Buick down on the bottom of the track, going for second spot, but not for long. Some race at 22 laps. Still some 24 cars all locked together, and Strickland has come from 20th up to fight for the lead. Think that inspection this morning has anything to do with this, Ned?
I'll tell you, I can't help but believe that it has. The last few races at Daytona, there was a good race there on July 6th, and at Pocono last week, it was a good race, had a big crash, but they have really tightened down on the inspection, as Neil Bonnet and Mike Joy talked about in the pit what all they have been doing, and I think that it has helped to equalize the field a little bit more. If you just couldn't have better racing than we see here.
Well, Ned, I'm wondering about this porpoising he talked about. If that might have led to the cracked windshield on Ernie Irvan's car. Can you see it from your position up there? Are these cars bouncing up and down in this heavy traffic? And if so, I'm going to cross my fingers.
Well, haven't really seen that much of it, Chris, as they come by the start-finish line, which is our position here and one of the fastest points on the racetrack. We haven't seen the cars bouncing up and down too much, so apparently they've been able to work that out quite a bit. And I think the biggest concern was when they came off of the turns, and we're looking at them now as they just came off of turn 2, one of the most critical points, and everybody came off of there just smooth and easy.
This is some war for the lead at over 190 miles per hour. Hut Strickland in the number 12 on the inside, and beside him Michael Waltrip, the number 30 Pontiac. Buick and Pontiac now leading. Joe Rutman is there in third. On the outside, the number 22 Ford of Sterling Marlin, and Chad Little continues to mix it up. Chad's having the best run. He's never had a finish better than, I think it was 11th in 87 out of Riverside, California. He's had a 14th this year, had a 12th down at Daytona. Right now, he looks like he could be the man, the dark horse to win this. We're down to 24 laps complete. Let's begin to talk about pit strategy here and go to Mike Joy.
Well, Ken, if we stay under green, pit stops would scatter this field somewhat, and there's a lot of questioning as to how far they can run on a tank of fuel. It's what a lot of teams were working on in the last practice session yesterday. The smaller restrictor plate means that the carburetors will use less gas. But opening up those front ends underneath and that taller and straighter up rear spoiler means the cars will be dirtier aerodynamically and use more gas. We may see green flag pit stops as early as, say, lap 32 or 33.
14 cars here trying to do a breakaway, and as they try to break away, they're leaving some very strong people behind them, like Ernie Irvan and Rusty Wallace. And here again, some kind of a start to the Die Hard 500.
The final major, the PGA Championship in 2 weeks.
You know that sinking feeling? You turn the key and nothing.
When it gets this hot, you'd better get to Sears.
I hear my battery gets baked.
Only Sears has the Die Hard. In demanding tests for starting power, Die Hard performed 3 times better than industry standard.
This time, I'm getting a Die Hard.
Sears Die Hard battery. More power when you need it most.
Who's gonna back it better than Sears?
It's more than 30 years old, but to you, it's better than anything they're turning out today. Son of a Gun Protectant from STP is one of the good things you do for it. Son of a Gun not only brings out luster and shine and rubber vinyl and plastic, it cleans and protects. We know how you feel about your car, so we want you to go on feeling that way. Son of a Gun Protectant, one of the good things you do for your car.
Engine repairs can cost you. So remember, Fram oil filters protect your engine better because they stop more dirt the first time through than any other filter. Fram, you could pay a little now or a lot later.
When you've got a tough case of athlete's foot, the itching, the cracking, the burning, you want a medicine that acts tough. Tough-Actin Tenactin. Clinically proven Tenactin cures even the tough cases of athlete's foot fungus. Get Tough-Actin Tenactin.
Who needs all the rigmarole?
Face it, lots of places can install a new muffler.
You better know who you can trust and give your car to them.
But Sears backs every Musler muffler coast to coast for as long as you own your car.
When they say it's guaranteed, it's guaranteed.
And right now at selected Sears stores, the Musler muffler is only $17.88. For a quieter ride and a lifetime guarantee for only $17.88, get to Sears.
Who's going to back you better than Sears?
Coming up next, it's final round coverage of the Cannon Greater Hartford Open from the Tournament Players Club in Cromwell, Connecticut, featuring that par 4 15th hole, which for some, like Mark Calcavecchia here, is reachable in one. Tune in to see the big hitters on the PGA Tour. That's next on CBS Sports. Working the 29th lap at the present time, back at 27 as they continue to muster a change every half lap out here. Dale Earnhardt was then leading Davey Allison second. Sterling Marlin had himself a third spot. Bill Elliott was then in fourth, and Jeff Bodine in fifth. But as they come by now to complete lap number 29, here's how they've switched them around. There's 14 cars running this lead draft, and then a second draft about, what, 20 car lengths back?
Well, there are a total of 30 drivers that are within about a second and a half of each other. There was about 6 cars that was way back a second and a half or so, but they've caught up now.
Here's Davey Allison. Those pictures as he dove into turn number 1 about 193 miles per hour in our live coverage and fights with a Chevrolet of Dale Earnhardt. Now Earnhardt starts to pull along on the outside, and they've hung Davey Allison out. He's stuck on the inside groove, and he falls back 3 positions very quickly. And in this latest change of positions, Earnhardt has moved that Chevrolet back into the front of the field.
Davis' car seems to want to run high, or at least he's driving it up there. So it depends on how the car is working in the turns as to which groove you might use.
As they come back to the stripe this time, Earnhardt first, Elliott second. Sterling Marlin moves to third, and Davey Allison falls in fourth. Here's Neil Bond.
Ken, I walked over here in Davey Allison's pit, talked to Robert Yates, a car owner and engine builder. I was asking you, Robert, what Davey's saying, and usually those radios will tell you what your car's doing. It seems to be the traffic jam they're working on.
Well, every driver I'm listening to is complaining about, you know, this is a pretty tough seat to be sitting in right now. It's frustrating from an engine builder side that you can't, you know, you just can't do anything with them. You have to use the draft, and you're all in a blanket, and you know, they could run like that all day, but if anybody has any kind of problem at all, it could be the same thing we've had. It's just sort of inevitable. That could happen. We hope it don't. It's awful tough standing here watching this.
Ken, these radios are supposed to be to work on these cars. They're for blow-by-blow today. Go ahead, go down to Mike Joy.
Neil, I think perhaps the fastest car on the racetrack right now in 18th is Kenny Schrader. Richard Broom, he started well back, but he took that pack right up to the front, and now they're part of the lead draft. When he got in front of that group, they were running half a second a lap faster than with other cars in front. He's coming hard.
Well, he's running really good, and, you know, I'm just trying to keep him calm and try to keep him out of trouble. The guy's got to race pretty hard in front. I told him I didn't know where he wanted to be in there or not.
When will you pit?
Pardon? Probably lap 55, somewhere in that neighborhood.
That's a long way to go.
It really is, Mike. And you know, he has come back up, what, to 19th now?
Well, the 18th now. He's moved around the number 1 car, Rick Mass, and he's challenging, as you see here, Ernie Irvin.
You know, we talked about Dale Jarrett. I got to get a word in for him. At the top of the show, starting in 40th place, he's going to have a long day. Mike, I might challenge who's the fastest car out there, who's made the biggest move. Dale Jarrett has already moved up to 21st position from 40th position. He's been riding the draft with Ken Schrader coming up through there, so Schrader has certainly helped him a lot, but I can't believe myself that all the troubles they've had here this week, that he has moved up that far in the field at this point.
Tremendous amount of frustration for the Wood brothers, who have had so many great winners and so many great champions, but their motor program just doesn't seem to have the oomph it used to have.
Well, this is the car that was involved in a wreck here in May at Talladega, and they feel that the bodies, maybe they didn't get it back on quite right, and that is so critical on these high-speed racetracks. They put different motors in it, and they just simply couldn't get anything to make it run, but apparently it really drafts well.
And, of course, big news is that Dale Jarrett, along with his brother-in-law, Jimmy Makar, move on to a new team next year. The head of the Washington Redskins, Joe Gibbs, is going to field one of these $3 million teams, and there's no kidding about it. Gibbs intends to go out and win the championship with the driver of number 21.
He's very serious about his involvement in auto racing, and I think all the people in the sport really welcome Joe Gibbs into this sport. He'll bring a tremendous amount of credibility to it.
There's Greg Saxon, the number 47, rolling around, picking up a spot right behind the 21 car, and Bodine. And of course, these Buick drivers, like Bodine in the 26 and Hut Strickland in the 12, it's sayonara to Buick in 1992. General Motors announcing they're not going to race them, and particularly in Hut Strickland and Bobby Allison's case, the car owner kind of feel hung out to dry here. Let's go to Chris.
Well, we spoke earlier about the quality of the field. What impresses me here is the quality of the restrictor plate racing. It wasn't too many races ago. Everybody was down on restrictor plates, how it affected the sport. It was a bad thing. I don't think you can see a better race than we're seeing today with these tiny restrictor plates.
It's a great frustration, however, for those drivers. They know there's more in there, and they just can't get to use it. There's Allison running at 4th position and trying to close in again. And the old adage, patience is a virtue. It's the only way to run this one.
The only way to run, that's the truth. It's, David just staying right in behind Sterling Marlin there right now. Alan Kowicki is in that front pack 10. He's running in the 8th place, and in the car number 7. We have a report that there are some of the drivers that say there might be a little bit of a spray of moisture coming from his car. Doesn't look like there's any smoke or anything there right now, but Alan Kowicki is certainly running good, hanging up there in the lead draft in 8th place.
You can't see anything off the car right now, but the gentleman directly behind him, running in 9th position, is Mark Martin, and Ricky Rudd is right there as well. That's where those reports are coming from about Kowicki's car, number 7.
A quick note on an unscheduled pit stop. Rick Wilson made an unscheduled pit stop. He finds himself a lap down. Rick was running up there in the lead pack before he had to make that stop. Apparently had a flat tire.
And reviewing a little further back, you see the number 30 has been a factor here. Now 75 has fallen back into that lead group. Number 30, Michael Waltrip, who came up here and challenged for the lead, now finds himself back in 11th.
But I think that one thing we're seeing happen here now, Tim, they have run almost 100 miles, and we'll see some pit stops coming up here before too long, even though Ricky Broom and Ken Schrader's car said they might go 55 laps. There won't be a whole lot of them that'll go that far, but the tires are getting heated up now. They're going to slip around a little bit on the track, so they just find themselves a nice, comfortable position to run in there until they make that pit stop and get on some fresher tires.
37 laps, 98 miles have been completed in the 23rd annual Die Hard 500 here at the Alabama International Motor Speedway.
Cold filtered, Miller Genuine Draft. For those who've discovered its real draft taste, the world is a very cool place.
It's my family. I want tires I can trust.
25 years ago, Sears introduced Michelin road handlers to America.
I really do have a lot riding on my tires.
And today, Sears introduces new Michelin road handlers.
I'm not going to buy just any tires.
With advanced road handling tread and a 60,000-mile warranty coast to coast. Michelin road handlers, the tires America trusts at the store America trusts.
Who's going to back you better than Sears?
One manufacturer has more NASCAR victories than anyone. More NHRA Pro Stock victories than anyone. More consecutive IMSA GTO victories at Daytona than anyone. And more off-road victories in the last 5 years than anyone. That manufacturer is Ford. No wonder nobody enjoys the weekend like Ford.
It's one of the most technologically advanced, most rigorously tested fluids on Earth, relentlessly measured for maximum protection against the friction, the wear and tear, the heat and stress of today's engines. It is today's Quaker State. In Europe, in Japan, in America, Quaker State quality has passed the most demanding tests automakers can throw at it. At Quaker State, we don't just say we're tough, we're tested tough. The Big Q is one tough motor oil.
This Die-Hard 500 race summary is sponsored by Quaker State. The Big Q is one tough motor oil. After 96 miles had been completed here, we've had 7 different leaders. The lead had been swapped 10 times among them, but we were averaging only 157 miles an hour, nowhere near the record, for we had a caution very early in the going for 5 laps. Came out about lap number 3, and Wally Dallenbach had a problem and retired, the only car from the 41-car field that is not out here hustling on this 2.6-mile track. At the present time, however, car number 7, the car of Wally Dallen, the car of Alan Kowicki, is being black flagged. Consultation flag is out.
Yeah, they've given that to him a couple of laps in a row here, Ken. He's going to have to come in. His crew had asked NASCAR to say, hey, let us go until our scheduled pit stop at about lap 50, but they said we can't wait that long. We're getting too many complaints. We mentioned earlier that there was some fluid maybe coming from it. We understand that it could possibly be the rear end leaking some grease.
Let's go down to Neil Bonnet. He may have more.
Ken and Ned, we just talked to some people in Rusty Wallace who have been following him. He said it's oil on the windshield. It could be like Ned said, it could possibly be rear end grease or engine oil. But the NASCAR officials are in the pit right now. They're not going to let him wait. They're going to bring him in right now. And since he's coming in for the black flag, they're going to go ahead and pull that normal pit stop. They got 2 tires here ready to go on. They're going to fuel him. They're going to try to repair the damage, but also make that normal pit stop a little bit early. We'll see if we can tell what's going on here. I don't see any fluid behind the car, but we've got 2 officials. One official laying on the ground behind the car, up under it, seeing if he can find out what's going on. It's not going to be a normal pit stop with the speed we usually see. That inspector on the rear is going to have to be satisfied or they won't release this car. He's over looking at that side of it. I don't see a tremendous amount of fluid. They're going to pop the deck lid. The rear of these cars have the oil tank. Every bit of the engine oil is in the trunk. They want to make sure there's not any blow by there. He's telling them to wipe the oil off the rear. They want to see if it loads up again. The car could possibly have been overfull of oil when it started, but right now it's just a guessing game.
Neil, he's been in there 40 seconds. This has come at lap 41, 109 miles into the race.
Yeah, they wanted to hold NASCAR off until their normal stop like you were talking about, but they were getting so many complaints they had to pull it off. I'm looking on the ground where the car was parked. There's no abundance of oil there. I don't see any drippage. It must just be blowback coming out of the car.
47 seconds was the total time on pit road.
Yeah, that's going to cost them a lot, Ken. When the others come in, they're probably going to make those pit stops in about 22 to 24 seconds, even changing 4 tires. So that's going to put him out of the lead draft and maybe even an extra lap down.
Looking further back in the field, battle for 12th, number 30. Michael Waldrop right in there mixing it up, but for the moment, the number 4 car has swept around, and number 30 has dropped back.
Yeah, that 25 car of Ken Schrader, as Mike Joy pointed out earlier, is really on the move. I think he is the fastest car in the track now.
And Schrader's car is being shown in the 13th position. Just trying to get locked up here and just draw away with the number 4 of Ernie Irvan.
Well, they hooked up together at Daytona, the last restrictor plate race on July 6th. The 4 car of Ernie Irvan and the 25 car of Kenny Schrader, and dominated the field until late in the race, and Bill Elliott came along and passed them both, won the race.
Let's just review the front of the field and give you a sense of the interval. There's the number 3 car out in front, which is Earnhardt. Then Elliott runs in second. The third place car is Sterling Marlin for the moment, with Davey Allison hanging right on in fourth. And here's Jeff Bodine up into the fifth spot as they cross the line. Those are the front 5. Just behind Davey Allison's number 28, you can see the separation here. There is the Bodine car. And then comes Joe Ruttman a moment ago. He's still there.
A little bit of a gap back there. He might have lost the draft through that front group. There's Chad Little running into 7th place. Chad having a super run here today. That's Strickland still up there. He's shown in 8th place. 9th is Mark Martin, and 10th is Lake Speed. Yeah, Kelly Yarborough is entered, having a good run here today. And then Ricky Rudd is at the back of that front 11-car pack, followed by the 4th car of Ernie Irvan, and the 25 car are having their own little jostle as they try to collect these leaders. Now here you see Eddie Bierswell's car slowing down. This coming at lap 45. 119 miles complete, and Eddie Bierswell out of Texas rolls in car number 95. And this should be a scheduled pit stop. He might not have checked the gas mileage quite as close as some of the others and didn't know exactly how far he could go, or he has a fuel gauge light in there that comes on when the fuel gets low, and that perhaps came on to say it's time to come into the pit. You don't want to run out of gas here. If you do, you hope it's going into the third turn.
Understand that NASCAR is assessing a penalty of 15 seconds for getting that crew over the wall too quickly. Those 6 men came out just a little faster than they were supposed to.
It was emphasized in the drivers' meeting this morning that you do not go over the wall until the car is within 1 pit of your own pits. If you do, he says, we're going to assess you 15 seconds, and that's exactly what we see happening there now. The NASCAR official standing there with his watch, timing that 15 seconds, and boy, I'll tell you, they are a long 15 seconds when you have to sit there and you see those cars out there zipping around over 195 miles an hour.
More like 15 minutes.
Yeah.
Ernie Irvan, they say, is going to raise the spoiler on the pit stop. They've received permission from the NASCAR tower to kick that thing up.
Well, they were told again in the drivers' meeting that if you make a change on that spoiler during a pit stop, you must notify the NASCAR official. Now, if they should bend that spoiler down, the NASCAR official has to measure it. If they move it up, which we understand that Ernie Irvan's crew will do, then the NASCAR officials won't measure it, of course, because they started out with it at least 35 degrees, and they don't care if you put it up 50 degrees, that's fine. They just don't want you to get under 35 degrees.
Well, there you see Joe Ruttman has brought the field all back together again. Got that lead combination of drivers up to 14 cars in that immediate lead draft. Meanwhile, back in the 28th position is car number 17, Darrell Waltrip.
Well, he has really dropped that.
Foxy old game, or is he in trouble? Well, Mike Joy has more on car number 17.
Well, I'd go fox hunting if I were you, Ken. Jeff Hammond said there's nothing wrong with that car. He just wants Darrell away from all the traffic. I don't know if that's just strategy or if it's reactionary to what happened at Daytona or at Pocono, but he wants Darrell on the lead lap and away from traffic. Now, I think I said earlier pit stops would start at 32 or 33. I have meant 42 or 43, and we are seeing green flag pit stops now. Richard Petty in, and I'm in the Moroso pit where Buddy Baker is doing within 1 lap.
So as you follow Darrell Waltrip, he's closing up on Alabama's Stan Smith. That's 26th and 27th position, well back, but very much in that lead lap. Richard Petty has completed his pit stop and moved out here, hobbling around, using a crutch these days after he broke a bone in his knee in a terrible crash out at Sears Point, California earlier this year. Not of his own making either. That was a grip that lost an engine.
Yeah, hit an oil slick and went hard into the wall. Here is Buddy Baker in the pits. Let's go back there with Mike Joy.
Buddy running a limited 12-race schedule for Dick Moroso, former winner here. They're all set with the right side tires, just fueling, and they'll want to get out quickly because Jimmy Means is due in just in front of him. Baker's done, and he's away.
What? That tire got away. They wanted to get back out on the racetrack, didn't they? It is sitting in the grass area between the pit road and the racetrack. Now one of the crew members will go out and get it as Buddy Baker moves back out on the track. A 4-time winner here at Talladega, Buddy Baker.
And a 1-time winner in this race, and has led more laps on this racetrack than anyone. Buddy Baker, and he's another one of those old super speedway guys that really likes full speed ahead.
Oh, he loves to run this track in Daytona. Here's Bobby Hillen in the pits. Bobby Hillen, of course, substituting for Kyle Petty, who was injured here in May in that 23-car wreck on the backstretch.
And Kyle Petty is on the mend. He was here earlier this week, also on crutches, and continues to talk about Darlington. But I think that Felix Sabetis is saying that there might be an issue. Now all the leaders are coming in.
Yeah, all the front runners coming in. And once Earnhardt made his decision to come in, everybody else said they want to get in. They hope they can make an equal pit stop, get back out, and stay in the lead draft.
So all the leaders truck on down to pit road to refuel. Get a word from Neil Bonnet. This coming at lap 50.
They also made a point that they were going to pit with Elliott, and when the leaders came in, all of them came in. They're putting the tires on, which is really not necessary. The fuel is a big concern. These radials will run a long time.
Schrader being held. Don't know what the call is on Schrader, but here he comes out.
Well, he could have, the men could have gone over the wall a little bit early, or he could have just gone over the line just a tad, but I would suspect that the men went over the wall too early.
Derek Cope scooting by him as he comes to speed. They're being held on the end of pit road. Now, these pit stops all taking place at lap 50. Came in at the end of 49, 133 miles in. Remember, the guy with the fuel range always seems to be Harry Gant, and yesterday, Harry Gant did a lot of testing at final practice. Let's go quickly to Mike Joy, and we'll talk about that more in a moment.
Mike Waltrip in for a stop. It'll be interesting to see where he ends up, where everybody gets back to green flag racing, as he did not come in the same lap as the leaders. They have just gone by, and now Waltrip is away. He's going to be about half a lap behind the lead car when he gets back up to speed.
Schrader, the report is too many men over the wall. That was the penalty on Schrader, and the reason he was held, as you watch Brett Bodine and the car number 30 of Michael Waltrip coming back out here. The range of these cars becomes a real issue at Talladega, and yesterday, Harry Gant drove himself almost another complete race in that final practice period, and the reason, to find out what the range was going to be with this change of the spoiler angle.
Well, everybody figured that it would be the gas mileage would not be as good with the spoiler being bigger and also a little bit taller, 35 degrees, as we mentioned earlier. So he wanted to see how far he could go, but he said that it was really not that much difference, maybe a lap or so, and that really surprised me.
About a tenth of a gallon, wasn't it?
Yeah, it really surprised me.
Well, we're under a caution period, not under a caution period, under a period for pit stops here, and it is a green flag condition. We've had but one caution period thus far. That came early in the race with the Wally Dallenbach situation when he spun in turn number 2, and here's Rick Mast's car, number 1, now coming on pit road. Only one caution thus far. They could sure use one right now. Here you see Rick Mast in the number 1. Making their stop. They waited a bit, and we'll return with more live coverage of the Die Hard 500 from the Talladega Superspeedway after this message and a word from your local station.
Most engine wear occurs when you start your car. Because the oil's not in the engine, it's in the pan. But add Slick 50 at your next oil change, and it bonds a super slippery layer of protection for up to 50,000 miles. Slick 50. Starting your engine without it is a terrible thing to do.
Now on sale at Sears Tire and Auto Centers, just $21.97.
The Moscow Summit, Bush and Gorbachev, missiles, money, and the future of the Soviet Union. Join Dan Rather for complete coverage on the CBS Evening News beginning tomorrow.
This is CBS.
Okay, here's the play. Big Al is in motion to the right. Hands off to sports anchor Ron Burke. What a team! Channel 10 just won the AP Award for the best sports in Pennsylvania. They're up to something. Wait. Here's Eagle coach Rich Kotite. Now he's calling the plays for Channel 10. I don't believe it. All-pro Eagles quarterback Randall Cunningham. Channel 10 scores again. Hey, wait a minute. I don't believe it. It's a replay. Channel 10 Sports. My kind of team.
Watch this. You're going around a turn. Suddenly your engine is racing like crazy, but you're hardly moving. Then thump. Your transmission catches. Big trouble? Not always. AMCO's trained mechanics will check your transmission like nobody's business. They have the experience to find the small problem that acts like a big one. Truth is, half the cars serviced by AMCO don't need a new transmission. If your transmission's slipping, go to AMCO. AAMCO.
Catch the fun on Family Feud, weeknights at 7 on Channel 10.
This CBS Sports Special, the Die Hard 500, is sponsored by Ford and your Ford dealer. Have you driven a Ford lately? The world-class protection of Pennzoil Motor Oil. Pennzoil, ever since America learned to drive. And by Keystone and Keystone Light, bottled beer taste in a can. Wouldn't that be great?
Here at Talladega, Alabama, after 54 laps have been completed, 143 miles, the 1983 Rookie of the Year, Sterling Marlin, still looking for that first win, has exerted his strength and gone back in front. Davey Allison finds himself in second. Looking further back here, Bill Elliott in the sixth position. Jeff Bodine is in seventh. Ricky Rudd in eighth. Joe Ruttman in ninth. And Chad Little stands in 10th position. That was with 54 of 188 laps complete. There's the man out in front, Sterling Marlin for the moment, and Davey Allison closing right in. Makes it a Ford fight at this point.
Ken, they have pulled away a little bit from the third place car of Dale Earnhardt. They picked up in a draft there the two Fords of Marlin and Davey Allison, and is the biggest lead that we've seen any two cars have today.
NASCAR is really scrutinizing that pit road. They talk about those radar guns. We don't know where they are, but they just warned Ted Musgrave for sliding into the pit mid, so they're really on top of them. Here's Chris.
Sterling Marlin is out in front. He is in the field, has waited perhaps longer for a win than anyone else. He's 0 for 206. This is his 207th start. He's yet to win. If he should win today, he gets an extra $83,600 put up by Unical, the supplier of gasoline to all the cars, for winning the pole and the race. So there's a lot riding on this race for the pole winner, Sterling Marlin.
4 second places in his career. He would certainly like to turn that around this weekend, and his dad's come down to cheer him on. Cuckoo Marlin won one of those 125-mile qualifiers and did a lot of great racing over in Tennessee for years. Here's Mike Joy.
And Ken, they want to make sure that 83,600 stays top of Sterling's mind, so they have put a piece of duct tape with that number written in 3-inch high numerals right on the dashboard in front of him.
I think you could put $1 million or $1. It wouldn't matter to Sterling Marlin. He will go for it. 3 times he was the champion over at the Nashville Fairgrounds, and the guy that flagged all those races, Doyle Ford, is the flagging here today. Be something if he won under the same set of flags where he won all those track championships. Well, let's take a look back through the field here. Sterling Marlin in the 22 has the advantage, and Davey Allison tucks right in behind him in second spot in that car number 28. Going a little further back in the field, we get to car number 3, and there sits Dale Earnhardt. Earnhardt continues his roll-off win, stays up on top of the points. Right behind him is the number 9. There's Bill Elliott having a very good run today in 4th position.
Over $10 million in earnings. We saw those figures on Dale Earnhardt, the top money winner in all the motorsports. Dale Earnhardt is, and Bill Elliott right there in 4th place today.
Take a look at 5th. Here's Hut Strickland, that number 12 car that had such a great run at Michigan, the youngster in the Bobby Allison car, who's continuing to put some good numbers together here in 1991. He's running in 5th. And in the 6th position, Alan Kowicki is now, he's a lap down. Alan Kowicki is 1 lap down.
Being shown in 25th position at the moment.
And trying to get himself a good finish this year. He's not had the kind of year he would like. Behind him is the number 6 of Mark Martin, and he is running in the 6th position. A great run in the point standings last year, trying to get right back into it. Following comes number 40. You see 49, that's Stan Smith's car, the Alabama campaigner who came out of the All-Pro League of NASCAR. Good runner. Has big plans for next year.
Yes, he does. He's currently being shown in 27th position. He is 1 lap down to the leaders.
And as we check further back, looking at the field, pretty big interval there. Whoops. Bullet just shot by at 200 miles an hour. There's the A.J. Foyt car, with Chase making his second start in car number 14 for A.J., who is here, Mike Chasen at Oldsmobile. Now you see the number 5, and that is Ricky Rudd. He is in the 7th position at the present time.
For second in the Winston Cup point standings going into this race, about 140 points behind Dale Earnhardt. Then Joe Ruttman, 46 years old. His top finish was in the Daytona 500 this year when he finished third.
And 9th is that number 11, the Junior Johnson car. That's Jeff Bodine. A little pressure being exerted there on the 42-year-old campaigner. Right there is car number 47, moving in and trying to get a run, and I think he may have gone a lap
Well,
down.
he did, Ken, because he had an extra pit stop. He came in about the time many of the others did, but also he was in not too long ago. So in fact, he finds himself 2 laps down now to the leaders, shown in 37th position.
Showing 58 laps complete on Greg Sachs, 60 on the leader. And now you see Chad Little's car, number 19. He is running in the 10th position on the field. And this 28-year-old youngster out of Spokane, Washington, whose dad is giving him a lot of support. His father has owned a couple of tracks out in the Northwest. All of a sudden, they've come to life. Harry Hyde is working with him this weekend.
Young man,
made a big difference in Pocono.
Oh, yes, it certainly did. And Chad Little is probably the only driver in the field who graduated from college with a law degree. He has not taken the bar exam yet. He says he wants to get some racing out of the way first.
There he is, number 19, Chad Little, showing 10. And there's Lake Speed in the Cale Yarborough, number 66. There's been a couple of replacements. Dick Trickle started this car. And for the moment, the guy who said that all the adversity he has suffered over the year with his own team is just taught him to be patient and a lot more appreciative of anything that comes his way. Lake Speed, at the moment, in the number 66, shown 11. Now here's Harry Gant in the 33 car. And according to what we're registering on Harry Gant's car today, that number 33, if they got him a lap down,
well, he should, I would thought he'd be, they showed him in 27th position, 1 lap down, but I really would have thought that he would have been in about the 24th, the 14th and 15th position. So I don't know, we'll have to check that. He's running good right now, and he won the race here in May by gas mileage.
Oldest winner in Winston Cup racing. Doesn't like to be reminded of that. 51-year-old Harry Gant at number 33, scooting down the back straightaway. Here you see Mike Chase's Oldsmobile again, number 14 for A.J. Foyt. A.J., I think his feet are more tender now than they were even a month ago. They're healing, but when he walks, it's a very deliberate step.
Yeah, it's too bad. I know he would like to be out here driving the car, but he's got a good man in there.
12th place is Ernie Irvin's number 4. He's been up duking it out in the lead for a while. Now settles back. As we take a look at those cars in the lead lap, there's 25 of them still there. And you watch Ernie Irvin coming by in the 4 car, followed by Rusty Wallace. He's in 12th, having a good run thus far. And then the 42, Bobby Hillin is shown in 13th.
His only career victory came here at Talladega.
1986. Major upset. Let's go back up in front, where once again, car number 3, Earnhardt, puts that Chevy out in front. And here comes Alan Kowicki trying to get back one of those 2 laps.
Exactly. He is trying to get, he is only 1 lap down. He went 2 laps down when he made his pit stop, but when everybody else made their pit stops, then that put him only 1 lap down to the leader. But he's trying to get back up there and get in front and look for a caution, but right now he's not able to do that.
Bud Strickland trying to gain another position as well in the car number 12, fighting with his cousin-in-law back there, as they say. The Alabama families.
Yeah.
Neil Bonnet standing by with the guy who used to drive for him.
Again, we're here with Junior Johnson. He saw listening in stereo today. You know, Sterling's right up there mixing up. Junior really running good, and you got Sterling on one side of your radio and Jeff on the other side. What are they saying? How are the cars running now?
Well, Neil, I can listen to one of them, and I'm in Jeff's pits right now, so I can switch back and forth and kind of keep up with their conversations on what they're saying and what they're planning on doing. Anything I hear I don't like, I can change, but both of the teams pretty much know what they got to do, and the drivers does too, so they've been at it long enough they can do it by themselves.
I'll tell you what, Ken, they might be doing what they want to do, but those headsets kind of overrule when it comes time to
Now, if they had Flossie on the setup, that would be the ultimate ruler.
She's on holiday. She's down in Orlando. I don't think she's here this weekend. There's the 17 car. And that is Darrell Waldrop, currently being shown in 21st. And a reminder, we have 24 cars in the lead lap as we work lap number 67. Darrell's about where he wants to be for the moment.
Well, he's about over a half a lap behind the leaders right now, but he's happy there. That's fine. He's running in a big pack of cars, and here are the leaders, and maybe the lead's about to change again. Sterling Marlin down on the inside of Dale Earnhardt. He looks up in his mirror and says, come on, one of my Ford buddies, help me get on around here. But Davey Allison's going with Dale Earnhardt up there on the outside.
And Alan Kawicki is trying to find Sterling Marlin to pull him up through and try to retrieve one of those 2 laps that he has been docked. Mark Martin's number 6 once again finds its number up on the leaderboard. Fading back a bit. Car number 22, no place to go. That giant wash of sound as they head through that 18-degree flyover. They go back into turn number 1, and from Davey Allison's perspective, here's what it's like at 190 miles per hour as he closes in on the 4-time Winston Cup champion, Dale Earnhardt.
Well, we can see how high Davey was running on the racetrack, and we can see to the left there of Dale Earnhardt was running very low in the track. Now let's see when they go into turn 3. See Earnhardt goes way low, and then we see that angle of the banking as we go into turn 3, and Davey's still a little bit higher on the racetrack. You can see the back end of Earnhardt's car moving around a little bit down on the inside, but then once they hit the straightaway, well, he pulls right up behind him. Let's go to the pits now, and Mike Joy.
Rookie contender Bobby Hamilton in a bit early for right side tires. A lot of changes on this crew this week. New Jackman, Gary Leffler, David Hilton, and John Phillips are changing those tires, which have put Hamilton a second lap down. Ken, while we have it, let's update you on the Harry Gant situation. Gant was one of the cars following Alan Kulwicki when Alan was leaking some fluid there on the racetrack. So when Harry came into his pit, his windshield was so obscured from the grease royal, he couldn't find his pit and had to come all the way around the track again. Andy Peter, the crew chief, guided Harry in by radio control, when to turn in and where to stop. So that's what put Harry 2 laps down.
Well, thanks to the information, because it didn't seem possible that Harry could have gone a lap down, and there's the story on Harry Gant. That 68 of Bobby Hamilton was running in 23rd position. They're averaging 192 miles per hour as you watch our live CBS coverage of the Die Hard 500 here from Talladega, Alabama. And you're riding with Davey Allison having his hands full with Bill Elliott and company at the moment. Up in front.
They're running a little bit faster than they qualified, Ken, but no surprise, because when several cars hook up together and get in the draft, they can run faster than one car out there running by itself.
70 laps are now complete, 186 of the 500 miles, with Earnhardt first, Elliott second, Allison third, Marlin fourth, Mark Martin is in fifth, and they're all in a bundle.
Wouldn't it be great if there was a country club just for regular guys and a few things were changed, like monster carts allowed on course, water hazards shall no longer be hazardous, spikes encouraged in the clubhouse, only really great premium beer served, like cold filter Keystone and Keystone Light, bottle beer taste in a can.
Hey, I'm in the sun again. All right.
Nice shot. Thanks. Wouldn't that be great?
Fact. For 10 years, Ford has had the best-built American cars and trucks. Fact. For 4 years, Ford has had the best-selling cars and trucks, American or import. Fact. Ford cars and trucks have more repeat buyers than anyone else, American or import. Call it leadership, call it winning, call it anything you want. The simple fact is, Ford is #1. Save now during Ford's leadership celebration.
If your minivan needs brakes, come to Midas. You get trained technicians, guaranteed quality parts, a good price, and a lot of value. For brakes done right, bring your minivan to Midas. Nobody beats Midas. Nobody.
A company can learn a lot in 125 years. As you learn, you make your product better and better. 125 years of quality. That's why people who know use Valvoline.
They're the people who count on themselves to build their own dreams. Craftsman tools were made for them. Rugged power tools.
Over 1,600 Craftsman hand tools. Each one guaranteed forever. Forever. No wonder more people count on Sears. The home of America's craftsmen.
Bobby Bonilla is having another great season, batting over 300 and 5th in the National League in RBIs. He's one of the main reasons the Pittsburgh Pirates are atop the National League East again this season. Next Saturday, his Pittsburgh Pirates travel to St. Louis, taking on the third-place Cardinals. Or some of you will see the first-place Toronto Blue Jays take on the Boston Red Sox. That's Major League Baseball next Saturday on CBS Sports. 73 laps are complete in the Die Hard 500 at Talladega, Alabama, as car number 3, Dale Earnhardt, leads a parade of 21 cars in the lead lap. Number 9, Bill Elliott, trying to ambush the Chevrolet in second spot. Davey Allison was just making a run for the lead. He's fallen back to third position as you get this view of Davey Allison at work in his car. And the word is he's getting a hot foot out there.
Well, as we understand, his right foot is burning, and that's not unusual because it lays right against that tunnel on the floorboard. For more on that, let's go to the pits and Neil Bunny.
Ned, we're down here with Joey Knuckles. They're always helping us, telling us what's going on the racetrack. He came to me and said, can you look in the in-car camera? Davey's burning his foot, and you're concerned if they got the pad on.
Well, you know, with the skirts on both sides of these cars, it's really an oven up there. We've got a lot of insulation, but with the exhaust pipes right there on the speed, it's got kind of hot. He said he was cocking his foot a little bit, but I gave him a knee pad when he come in. He hadn't called back. He's been, you know, out there running with all these cars, so I was afraid to ask him, so I just hope he's okay.
Guys, can you tell if he's got that pad on yet?
We couldn't see it from up here.
No, the camera doesn't go quite that low. Now we're moving down there, Neil, but we're seeing the corner of the seat when it camera points in that direction, so we really can't, because it would be right at his ankles is where they would want, or his ankle on his right foot is where they would want that pad.
Ned, do you remember when Darrell Waltrip burned his foot so badly that he charged the bone? I mean, he just sat in there, I believe it was at Daytona, and just kept on trucking, and actually when he came in, he had charred the bone in his heel.
Oh, it gets extremely hot. I remember one time at Nashville, Tennessee on a night race. Darrell won the race over there, and at the end of the race in Victory Lane, they had a bucket of ice water, and he welcomed the opportunity to stick his foot down, and the steam just came up. I mean, it's unbelievable to see that little reaction there.
Battle for the lead continues here.
This heat is exacerbated by the regulations that call for the right side windows to be up in these cars at the super track. There's really no air in these cars as there are at some of the other tracks. It's like an oven in there. Believe me, it is hot.
Chevy versus Ford up in front. Chevy's on the outside, and Sterling Marlin flanks that number 22 right on the bottom. Takes Davey Allison with him for second spot at turn 3, and there's the Buick of Hutch Strickland, number 12 up on the high side with that black Chevrolet of Dale Earnhardt.
He feels that his best chance of getting out front again would be to ride with Dale Earnhardt up there on the outside. But Sterling Marlin has other ideas as he wants to stay down on the inside and keep the lead.
I want to remind you folks, you're watching it live. I mean, the competition is so tight, it looks like a movie today out here. This is live on CBS, the Die Hard 500 from Talladega, Alabama, and this has been the battle all day for the lead thus far. 77 laps now complete. That brings us to 204 miles down. Only one caution to date.
Mike Chasen, car number 14, caught up in that big pack of traffic, but he gets out of the way there. Jimmy Means also going another lap down in the car number 52. Jimmy currently being shown in 38th position.
They say that Dale Earnhardt last year that his dry goods business earned something like $10 million. You saw one of the shirts there, and of course he has 2 or 3 other drivers that are part of that combination.
Well, they do a tremendous business with T-shirts and caps and jackets and all that kind of thing.
There's the 17th place car slowing down is number 25, Schrader.
Yeah.
He's backing off as you see them going down into turn 1.
He's probably running 150, 160 miles an hour, but that's not fast enough out there today.
Hardly walking. Car number 25, Ken Schrader.
He has it all the way down on the apron there now, Ken. That's not too good. You can see he's sort of relaxing, just steering it around, trying to get back to the pits.
We had an opportunity to talk to him earlier. This might not be the moment. That's a terrible frustration for Schrader in the car number 25 as he tries to nurse this car back onto pit road.
Ken, what's wrong? Schrader, what's your problem?
I don't know.
the thing just laid down, Ned. Something, it's terminal in the engine.
Oh, that's too bad. You had a great run going. Well, that has to be disappointing. He's right up there in the point standings.
Yeah, fifth.
Coming into this race in 5th place, and boy, this hurts.
That'll drop him down. Ken Schrader in one of the Rick Hendrick cars supplied us with some excitement here at the start of this race. Gave us some great pictures out at 79 laps complete.
Check the valves. Put a set of spark plugs in.
Not ready to give it up.
No,
he
he's not ready to give it up. That's right.
Okay.
Yeah.
Check all the valves. Put a set of spark plugs in.
Now, that's not the crew chief doing that talking. That's the driver doing the talking. Of course, Ken Schrader knows a lot about a race car.
You know, he was only home one day last month. He's racing every day of the week all over the United States. Of course, his wife, she stayed home a lot. She was home 2 days. She and the baby traveled with him. Almost.
Yeah, I'll tell you, he's a racer, no doubt about it.
Look at this battle up in front. Now it's Earnhardt out in front again, and here comes 30-year-old Hut Strickland, the pride of Alabama. The newest carrier of the Alabama gang flag down that backstretch in 2nd spot, and what a show he's putting on. He's in there, Sterling Marlin mixing it up, and here's Davey Allison running for it. Watch that tack when he jumps in and out of the draft here. Ned, maybe you can talk about that a little.
Yeah, the RPMs definitely change when he gets in the draft. You see there it went down to 6,900. Now, we'll see when he hits the straightaway, he drops down even into the 6,800 bracket. When he gets up into the draft, it starts picking up a little bit again, 6,900. Probably go over 7,000. There it did. Went right over 7,000 as he got in the draft. So you can see there's a variance of about 200 RPMs per lap, depending on where he is on the racetrack and how much drafting he's able to do. Look at Earnhardt, a little bit wiggly up there in front of him.
And wobbling down the inside right up at 192 mile an hour average comes car number 22, Sterling Marlin. They almost touched there, and I believe they did. Just grazing the paint at over 190 miles per hour. 81 laps are complete, 215 miles. Remember that 94 laps will mark the halfway distance. And here comes Hut Strickland in number 12. He's going for 5 points to lead this thing. Hut Strickland charging down through into Buick. He's got the Chevy on the outside. His cousin-in-law, Davey Allison, on the inside. And here's Hut Strickland. About ready to lead this thing.
And the lead, no question about it. We saw that 5 car of Ricky Rudd. There he is, the bride controller up there on the outside of Earnhardt. Tim, not too long ago, Rudd was running in 7th place, but was trailing the pack by about 5 seconds. He has led a pack of cars right up there to the front runners.
You talk about racing. Look at this pack as we move toward halfway, battling over 190 miles an hour, inches apart. And this is the scramble for first. Unbelievable. Remember that Alan Kowicki is 2 laps down, but he stays right in there, trying to make up one of those laps.
Now, he's only 1 lap down. He went 2 laps down when he made his pit stop, and when others made their pit stop.
He caught that one out.
Yeah, right.
So 1 lap, and he's back with the leaders. Thanks, Ned. Now, 2 complete.
We talked about Rudd. He would certainly like to get up there and lead. I don't think he has led a lap so far today, and he would love to do that because there's 5 bonus points that goes to a driver when they lead a lap in Winston Cup racing. And boy, he certainly needs that because Dale Earnhardt has been up front quite a bit today and has a good chance of leading the most laps, which is another 5 bonus points, so he wouldn't want to give up 10 bonus points in one day.
This has to work on your mind running that tight together for that long at that high speed.
Well, it really does. You certainly can't break your concentration for 1 moment. If you do, as Chris Economac pointed out in the first race, just 1 slight mistake can cause disaster out here. So that concentration's got to be there every second.
Hut Strickland is out in front, and Davey Allison rides second as the Alabama gang rides atop the field in the Die Hard 500.
When you get thirsty, there's one thing everybody's got to have. Because deep down, we all want the same thing. The cool, crisp taste, the fluids, minerals, and energy of Gatorade.
Gatorade thirst quencher for that deep down body thirst.
The driver of this car adds something special to his motor oil. So does the driver of this car. They both use STP oil treatment. For drivers on a racetrack or
drivers on a fast track. STP.
This bench gets a professional finish with Krylon spray paint. No runs, no drips, no errors. Dries to the touch in minutes. The other brand's still tacky. Wow! What a game!
Good game, Mr. Euchre.
He's a lot tougher than he looks. For a fast, smooth, professional finish, get Krylon.
Pennzoil. At home in America. Charlotte, North Carolina. NASCAR USA. This is where they build race cars and the engines that power them. And those engines, they don't come cheap. So what motor oil goes in this race car? The same straight-off-the-shelf Pennzoil quality that goes in your car. You know the one. Pennzoil. Ever since America learned to drive.
In over half the homes across America, people rely on Kenmore appliances. And right now, the country's most popular brand of appliances on sale at Sears Brand Central, where you'll save $80 on each of these self-cleaning Kenmore gas and electric ranges, now at their lowest prices of the year. Only at Sears Brand Central.
I'm Paula Zahn. This week I'll be in Moscow for complete coverage of the Bush-Gorbachev Summit. Plus I'll be talking with Barbara Bush on CBS This Morning.
On Murphy Brown, we're like a family. So even though I'm the boss, people sometimes wonder who's really in control. Well, the answer is simple. I am.
Hope you had a light lunch, Miles.
The show is Murphy Brown. The look is CBS.
Of the Sears Die-Hard truck in the huge garage area in the infield of the Talladega Superspeedway. 215 acres in this infield. We're up here on top with a good view of the garage area. Turn around and see the track. We've got Kenny Schrader with us. But an interesting point. The race record for this event is 178.7 miles an hour, set in 1978 by Lenny Pond. The average now is over 190. We may see a record race before it's all over. But Kenny, I think that when your career is over, you're going to be an announcer. You sounded great in that car. Well, what made it lay down, to use your word?
Well, you know, I got a better shot of being an announcer than to do an engine over. All I know is it quit. There's probably something in the valve train or piston or something like that, Chris. It went to 7 and started slowing down. It was getting ready to make pieces, so we just shut it off.
All this inspection chin shears, taking the air dams, trimming them, and all that kind of stuff, did it affect the handling of your car? And could you see it affecting any other driver's handling?
Well, I think, it affected a little bit, but, NASCAR has made the cars handle better with raising the front air dam and putting more spoiler in the back. And everybody was, nobody looked like they were hanging on like they have in the past. Everybody was pretty much under control.
The racing is pretty good with the restrictor plates. How tough was it to pass?
It may look good. It's not much fun inside the car, but if you had a good partner, I got hooked up with Buddy Baker there and with Michael Waltrip, and they'd both get right on you. They'd just get a couple people hanging, and you could flat get around with some cars.
Okay, run by your schedule for us. Where your next race is, Kenny, quickly.
We're just running a couple races next week. So we're going to run Wednesday night, Grant City, Illinois, with a little dirt car, and then Friday, Saturday, Sunday, we go to Topeka, Kansas for the Wendy's 100, the ARCA road race out there.
Good luck to both of them. Thanks for coming by, Kenny Schrader. Back to you, Ken.
Thanks, Chris. Bad day for Ken Schrader, who certainly is deserving of something better than what happened today. Take a look at this graphic. These are the guys that are still looking for that first checkered flag in Winston Cup racing. Right now, Sterling Marlin is second in the field. Hut Strickland, who had been leading, is following back to third. Joe Rutten, been around for a long time, is running 6th. Chad Little having a great day in 11th, and Rick Mast in 15th. How about Michael Waltrip in 17th?
And I'll tell you, he has come awfully close several times this year. Michael Waltrip has to win.
Checking the leaderboard as we move toward halfway in the event. 90 laps are officially on the board at the present time, with Davey Allison up in front, Sterling Marlin being shown as second. Hut Strickland finds himself third. Bill Elliott is that 4th place runner. And Ricky Rudd, just like you said, Ned, he's found himself a 5th spot out here. He's becoming a real factor in this race.
Yeah, he's moving right up in the pack.
But they're the top 3 for the moment. Allison, Marlin, Strickland.
Well, we see Alan Kowicki's car, and we've said several times, he's a lap down. Now, he is currently in 21st position. There are 20 cars on the lead lap now.
I'd like to know from someone the story on number 3, Earnhardt. You see him here, and he is continuing to back up. That car is back in 8th, and twice he's come out of the draft. Remember early in the day, we saw him just motor down to the inside, hunker down, and take everybody? That's not the case on car number 3, and I'm wondering if something might be amiss there.
Well, I don't know. He might be content just sitting in there riding in the middle of that pack with the draft, saving some fuel. You can conserve a little bit of fuel by riding in the middle of the pack, and Earnhardt's crew, now they are known for getting good horsepower and certainly for setting that car up well. But we got a car in the wall over here in turn 2.
Harry Gant, number 33, has struck the outside wall hard.
And the caution will come out for the second time here today. So the winner here in May won't repeat here in July.
Running in 25th position, Gant, 1 lap down, has tagged the wall hard. Second caution of the day for Gant. Dallenbach brought out the first one. Field goes under yellow and will move to the halfway point. They're now working lap 93. Halfway, 250 miles, would be lap 94.
It looked like we could see Harry Gant taking his window net down. There's a couple of fellows there on that camper sort of blocking the view of Harry Gant in the Leo Jackson Oldsmobile, but it looked like there for a moment he was taking that window net down. So that's the good news. Now the safety equipment start to move in.
As they came to the line, the 30 and 17 cars were running 18th and 19th, the Waltrip brothers. Remember, they started side by side. Let's see again what we can discern from. Yeah, he was already loose, already breaking away. That looked like it might have been a tire.
Yeah, it could have been. We saw the car number 94, it looked like, of Terry Labonte going by on the outside just as Gant was in the trouble there. Oh, that's too bad. They'll certainly be coming into the pits, I would think, again, because everybody, in fact, they were not too far away from regular pit stops, maybe another 15 or so laps, but they only changed right side tires on their green flag pit stops. I'm sure there are a lot of drivers, and Earnhardt might be one of them. We were talking about him when this caution came out, that maybe the left side tires are getting a little bit worn, and he would welcome the opportunity to come in and get 4 new ones on this.
20 cars are in the lead lap, and as you pointed out, the 21st place car is the number 7 of Kowicki. He'll get another shot from inside on that restart lineup, getting back in the lead lap.
Well, he will, but it'll be awfully tough. Here's Davey Allison as we ride with him right into the pits. Brings it to a halt. Everybody else coming down pit road.
Neil Bonnet.
Again, we're right here in Davey's pit. They're going to do the 4 tires. They were about 8 laps away from a normal stop, and it's kind of unique to see this happen. They had to come over and tell the NASCAR inspector, hey, we want to add a little bit of rear spoiler. We want to put a little bit more angle on it. It's almost like getting permission to do something. He's killed the motor, cranked back up, he's killed it again. They're having a little bit of trouble getting it going. They're going to push it right now. They got him running. It shouldn't hurt him that much, but you have to get permission to mess with that rear spoiler, and they had to tell the inspector prior to it. Let's go down to the pits. Mike Joy.
Ernie Irvan pulls away after making his stop, has to dodge a tire there in the center of the lane as Bodine, Ruttman, and Chad Little go by. I'm in the Dale Earnhardt pit where they have made some changes to Earnhardt's car. He said the car was getting a little bit loose out there, so when he came in, Scott Kluka jumped over the wall, and he put a hole turn a wedge there in the left rear. And also it looked, Richard Childress, like you were making some moves on that spoiler in the back.
Yeah, we knocked a couple of degrees more in the back of it there. It's just a tick loose when 2 or 3 cars get around him there. It seems like it, he just needs a little more right there. So I think we'll be okay now.
So a turn in the left rear, some more spoiler. How about stagger?
We'll be okay.
that grin, mate. I think that was just a little change there. And Richard's usually right when he makes a pronouncement like that.
Yes, sir. He's the cagey one. No question about it.
They're not ready to put it up on the trailer yet.
No.
Car number 3, Dale Earnhardt, still a factor, very much so in this race, as are 20 others in that lead lap. When we come back, Rick Wilson is still out there as the leader. Ricky Rudd's in second, and Mark Martin's in third.
You know that sinking feeling? You turn the key and nothing.
When it gets this hot, you'd better get to Sears.
I hear my battery gets baked.
Only Sears has the Die Hard. In demanding tests for starting power, Die Hard performed 3 times better than industry standards.
This time, I'm getting a Die Hard.
Sears Die Hard battery, more power when you need it most.
Who's going to back it better than Sears?
In the last 5 years, one truck manufacturer has won more off-road races than anyone, including 4 class championships in 1990, and that truck manufacturer is Ford. And that kind of winning performance goes beyond the winner's circle.
There's a reason Sears installs more shocks than anyone else.
And with Sears, I know I'm not going to get ripped off.
Because Sears backs every shock with satisfaction guaranteed or your money back.
When they say it's guaranteed, it's guaranteed.
And right now, save up to 40% on all performance, gas, and light truck shocks. All on sale, up to 40% off, and all backed by Sears.
Who's going to back you better than Sears?
It's one of the most technologically advanced, most rigorously tested fluids on Earth, relentlessly measured for maximum protection against the friction, the wear and tear, the heat and stress of today's engines. It is today's Quaker State. In Europe, in Japan, in America, Quaker State quality has passed the most demanding tests automakers can throw at it. At Quaker State, we don't just say we're tough, we're tested tough. The Big Q is one tough motor oil.
This Die Hard 500 race summary is sponsored by Quaker State. The Big Q is one tough motor oil. Halfway point in the Die Hard 500 today, and we've had 9 different leaders. The record is 26 back in 1986 when Bobby Hillin won it. That lead has been swapped 18 times. The average speed is 178 miles per hour. The record for the race, 186 by Bill Elliott back in 85. There have been 2 caution periods, of which we are currently in the second one, created when Harry Gant was in an incident down here in turn number 2, and the earlier one was with Wally Dallenbach's car, also in the turn 2 area. 3 cars are officially out of the race. Dallenbach, Ken Schrader, carrying one of our onboard cameras today, and Harry Gant. So that's the story in summary form of what has happened here thus far at Talladega, Alabama on this 2.6-mile track today. Getting set on a restart, Gant's car has been brought in, and as they get ready to go, Rick Mast in one of the Jackson Brothers cars being shown up in front with Ricky Rudd in second. And there's better than 100,000 out here in extreme heat. We've gone halfway, and there is the possibility we may get some showers, but this race is now official since we're halfway home.
Yeah, anytime you go past the halfway point, it does become official. Of course, we hope we get to run the whole thing, and I think we probably will, but those fans are enthusiastic.
I think those are all Ned Jarrett fans out there.
Well, we see Rick Mast is at the head of the list. I think he only changed 2 tires, Ken, as opposed to many of the others changing 4 tires. The radial tires, the Goodyear radial tires that they're using here, don't heat up as much, they don't wear as much, and as a result don't slow down as much when they get heated up. So, you know, good move there.
See Mark Martin in 3rd. Hut Strickland hangs right on in 4th place. Good-looking strapping fella out of the Alabama area. And Sterling Marlin stays in that 5th spot. Those 2 men looking for their first win in Winston Cup racing. That's after 95 of 188 laps have been completed. Looking further back, Bill Elliott lies 6th, Earnhardt 7th, Bobby Hillin 8th, Rusty Wallace 9th, and showing 10th is Davey Allison. The 11th spot at the present time is Morgan Shepherd, then Jeff Bodine 12th. Ernie Irvin finds himself in 13th. He's done a good job today. 14th is Joe Ruttman, and 15th is Chad Little's car number 19. Going 16th out there on the field is car 66, and Lake Speed's done an outstanding job as the Cale Yarborough crew is trying to get up into the top 10 for the first time this year. Here's Mike Joy.
Darrell Waltrip is back in, and I thought at first this might be just to top him off so he could go the distance on only 1 stop of gas. But some of the ductwork has come loose at the left rear quarter window, and that's how Darrell gets fresh air into that car. So they tried to rehook up the ducts, trying to make him a little bit cooler. Doug Rickard climbed over the wall, took the occasion to take a turn out of the left rear, making a chassis adjustment, and they did top Darrell off. I think at halfway, we might see some fellas try to stretch this and go the distance with only 1 more stop if we stay green.
Yeah, I would say that could very definitely be the case. That'll put Darrell back in 20th place now. There are 20 cars on the lead lap.
Let's just slide down through the field as we get set here to go. There's that number 1 car with Rick Mast currently leading for the first time today. Then Ricky Rudd is right there in the second spot. He could well be a factor down at the finish of this one. There's Mark Martin's number 6, which is in third, and the Buick number 12 of Hut Strickland showing fourth. The fifth spot is Sterling Marlin's number 22, and they're in 6th. Bill Elliott in car number 9.
He's running right up there all day long. In 7th place is the then Dale Earnhardt in car number 3.
Following him is number 42.
Bobby Hillin having a good run here today. Right behind him is Rusty Wallace. Last week's winner. He's currently being shown in the 8th position.
Then comes Davey Allison. Morgan Shepherd getting a call. We haven't seen too much of Morgan out here. I think he's a lap down. I think Morgan may have
I don't think so.
up a little earlier.
No, I
no,
think
you're right.
He's
He's
right there in the lead lap. They're getting the signal for one more lap. Then comes the car number 4 of Ernie Irvin, currently being shown in the 13th position.
Joe Ruttman should be right behind him. There he is, number 75, with that unusual paint job.
And Chad Little, there's Joe Ruttman up on the outside. The cars that are in the lead lap are lining up on the outside. These cars down to the inside are at least one lap down. There's Chad Little being shown in the 15th position. You see Barry Cope sliding in there. There's the car number 66 of Lake Speed we spoke about a little bit earlier. 16.
And there's a guy that has done pretty well. They started dead last. Well, not dead last. Started 40. But Dave Marcus was dead last.
He can stay up there in 17th position. He might could get the catch-up award here today.
Of course, that's Dale Jarrett. And they say that car number 33, it just hand grenaded down here, blew an engine, and he spun in his own oil. That's what caught him up.
That can happen. Okay, it's been released from the hospital. We're happy to hear that. We check Terry Hanover. There's Michael Walker. He was running in the 18th position. Then Buddy Baker in car number 20 is 19th. And then Darrell Walters, who made that late pit stop, is there he is the 20th place car. So half of the field still in the lead lap. 20 drivers. Darrell Waltrip at the tail end of that lead lap.
About time for Waltrip to put the spurs on, isn't it?
Well, I'll tell you, he's hung in there all day, but
we're halfway.
Yeah, he doesn't want to be last on the lead lap for too long.
Tail end of the lead lap. Inspectors are inspecting the top of the inspection station there.
Oh, I tell you, just
or maybe they need a little bit of a breather.
Yeah, I would say if he's inside that thing, he does need a breather, so he's sticking his head out to get a little fresh air.
All right, looking for that number 1. 97 laps. Rick Mast is first. Strickland right there, and we're under green. Kowicki immediately slips back 2 spots. He needs someone to play with here if he's going to get a run on those guys for.
Yeah, he would like. Now he's coming back up. That's him in the 7 car down on the inside. He would like to get ahead of the leaders, but I'll tell you, Ricky Rudd is going to make a determined effort to get around Rick Mast and try to lead a lap to get those 5 bonus points we were talking about a little bit earlier.
There's Alan Kowicki in that 7, working hard to get that lap back. He has Rudd as they go into number 3.
But he doesn't have anybody working down there on the inside. The leaders are up on the outside now. The car number 1 pulls down sort of in the middle of both of those cars that are running side by side of Ricky Rudd and Alan Kowicki. But Rudd just, boy, he would love to get enough momentum to get up there and lead a lap.
We saw him finish 4th here a year ago, and Alan Kowicki just wants so much to get back up there and contend for this. Now here comes Rudd to the inside. The number 5 car moving up on Rick Mast, bottom of the racetrack. Ricky Rudd scoots into the lead.
Well, I'll tell you, the whole field is bunched up together here now. Again, everybody heard Robert Gates talking about how anxious they were in the pits and seeing the cars run so close together. Well, since the early part of the race, we haven't seen them bunched up as much as they are right now.
Mark Martin finds himself in place in 2nd spot, and from Davey Allison's perspective, right down almost on the apron at 190 miles an hour, he lopes into turn number 3.
Okay, he's moved down to the inside group. That's Rick Wilson right ahead of him. Rick is being shown in 29th place, but he is 2 laps down to the leader. As we look out the windshield now of Davey Allison.
100 laps complete, this time by Neil Bonnet.
That we had earlier, the big traffic jam earlier, I talked with Robert Yates. They're doing something unusual. NASCAR furnishes an area for spotters. You have 1 per car on top of the building. The jam is so bad, Robert has sent 3 different spotters in different directions. It's kind of like pulling up the intersection and ask somebody on the right side of your car, can I move over? There's a blind spot in these cars. They don't have that luxury, so they're getting spotters all the way around this racetrack. the minute he plugged the hole, he's moving over. They're trying to get some help for these drivers to plug these holes and work this traffic.
There's no hole to be plugged out here. They're all filled up. Here's Davey Allison on the inside. Jimmy Spencer in the middle. Earnhardt on the outside. 3 wide as they come pressing down on the turn. That's back there in 7th spot.
And Ricky Rudd has taken over the lead, so he has got those 5 bonus points that we talked about. There he is, out front, with Mark Martin now sitting there in 2nd place. They've relegated Rick Mast back to 4th as Sterling Marlin has moved up to 3rd.
We'll let you see how the field is running. This is back after 95 laps. Some of those folks through the field that you're interested in. We watch this battle between a Chevy and a Ford up in front. Here's the Ford to the inside going into turn number 3, and they're going to make them 3 wide in there. Sterling Marlin hangs it on the outside.
Mark Martin on the inside. Mark Martin will come out the leader, but when they get straightened out here in the tri-oval, will he be able to? Yeah, I think he will. He has the momentum.
Great run by Sterling Marlin as he used the handrail right up against that concrete wall at 190 miles an hour. That great surge of power as they come across the start-finish line, head back into turn number 1. And it's Batesville, Arkansas. Mark Martin in front. Tennessee, Sterling Marlin in 2nd. Georgia's Bill Elliott in 4th. Alabama's Hutch Strickland running in the next position back, followed by Ricky Rudd, the Virginian. Look at this battle up in front. Sterling Marlin right to the bottom of the racetrack. Derek Cope's car putting out some smoke. Derek Cope, winner of a couple of races. Here comes Hutch Strickland down at the bottom of the track. Things not going well for that Whitcomb racing team these days, and it may be the end of the afternoon for him.
That's the car number 10 of Derek Cope you're talking about. He had a ratchet to hang up in when he made his green flag pit stop a good while ago, but it had been running good up until then, but too bad now.
Let's look at that pack battling for the lead, and that is the battle for the lead going to turn number 1. Down to Chris Economaki with Harry Gant.
Harry, what do you think of the racing we're looking at here?
Well, it's you got to have them bunched together. I mean, in a line, one car can't go anywhere, so they got to have help from the rest of them.
What about you? Why are you here, Harry?
Well, I blew an engine going in the turn down there and glassed off the wall a little bit, but we're out for today. You know, the SCO team has done a good job, and something just went wrong there today. It didn't seem right, and something broke in the car, but we'll be back again. You know, we hope we'll be up there, but we had a lot of bad luck today.
Well, what's the racetrack like today?
Well, it's good. These tires are just super. I think you could run 300 miles easy on the tires to get your hands a new radio. The track's real good. Most of the cars are handling good. Most of them, though, just have to have several in a line. They just won't go by themselves.
What about the conditions for the driver in the car with the right side closed up in all this heat?
Well, it's not hot. It's not a big
Ooh,
hot.
trouble down in turn 1.
There's a major wreck developing in the 1st and 2nd turn area. 1, 2. There's Ernie Irvin's car getting collected. Rick Wilson is in it. Richard Petty slowing down. Terry Labonte getting caught by Musgrave in the 55. A major incident developing in turns 1 and 2. This is at lap 104. They're racing back to the line. Here you see Jimmy Spencer's car crawling into the infield.
Major damage there.
End of the day for him. Field running back to the line. Safety,
of course, the caution is waving.
Forward position here. They're staying down on the grass as they go out to turn 1. Field coming by, being blowed. It'll be Sterling Marlin across the line first. Mark Martin 2nd as they come to the line. There's the number 4 of Ernie Irvin, all torn up. He was collected in that incident. Again, it was lap 104 where it all broke loose up in turns 1 and 2. Jimmy Spencer clambering out of car number 98. What a bad break for Travis Carter. Harold Elliott's going to go to work. So let's see if we can see what happened here in turn number 1. Where did it begin?
Well, Ernie Irvin
car number 4
slipped sideways going into the turn. Now, whether he was tapped was that Buddy Baker right behind him. They were running awfully close together, and then he backs up into the car number 68 of Bobby Hamilton, and Rick Wilson right there with nowhere to go, and that's Spencer's car on the left up against the wall. Richard Petty spinning down on the inside. You can see Dale Jarrett getting down on the flat. He got through the mess.
Ernie Irvin took a left and a right there. Looks like he was collected by Lake Speed after he was initially hit on the outside. You see Wilson's car coming down. So it looks like a 12-car melee down here in turn number 1. There's the second part of that incident. That was late in the action. It just happened here on the first and second turn up on the 33-degree banking. Again, it started near Ernie Urban's car.
Well, it's ironic, Ken, that he would be involved here after his speech to the drivers in the drivers meeting this morning.
Again.
And let's see, so we see him go into that turn.
You'll see him get turned right there. I think he got tapped.
He might have got tapped a little bit by Buddy Baker. They were awfully close together going into that turn. And around he went and shot him right back up in front of a number of other cars, really blocking the racetrack.
Richard Petty got through it and spun. I think his car is all right. You see it spinning, but that was the base of action, as he almost was ambushed down there by those spinning machines. We'll return with more live coverage of the Die Hard 500 from the Talladega Superspeedway after this message and a word from your local station.
In over half the homes across America, people rely on Kenmore appliances. And right now, the country's most popular brand of appliances on sale at Sears Brand Central, where you'll save $80 on each of these self-cleaning Kenmore gas and electric ranges, now at their lowest prices of the year. Only at Sears Brand Central.
At 5 a.m., they start worrying.
Let's go through this one more time.
First about their $25,000 engines.
Maybe we should just rejet the car.
Then about 59-cent clamps. But one concern these NASCAR pit crews never have, their gasoline. Since 1951, 76 has fueled more NASCAR winners than all other brands combined. A soothing thought, because when the flag goes down, there's enough to worry about.
Some medical secrets are better left unknown.
What is going on?
Melissa Gilbert, Jack Scalia, Donor Tuesday.
This is CBS.
No matter where you live in the Delaware Valley, Prolog can find a physician or dentist convenient to you. Because Prolog has information on doctors in more than 43 specialties, affiliated with 107 hospitals, not just one. And then when you've chosen a doctor who matches your needs, from what they charge, to their office hours, to the insurance they work with, Prolog counselors do one more thing.
I can make an appointment for you right now. Hold on while I connect you to the doctor's office.
Call 2 Health the next time you need a physician or dentist.
Channel 10 Sports, my kind of team.
Keep watching 60 Minutes this summer. We'll try to make it worth your while with stories you might have missed and stories you've told us you wanted to see again. That's 60 Minutes tonight, followed by Murder, She Wrote. And finally, the CBS Sunday movie, Angel of Death, with Gregory Harrison and Jane Seymour. That's tonight on CBS. Let's go down on pit road. Neil Bonnet with one of the victims of this crash in turn 1.
Ken, we're down here with Ernie. You know, after this morning, I know you want to get in here and get wound up in one of these things, and they said it's just an unavoidable deal. You're right in the middle of a big pack, and it's just tough out there right now, isn't it?
Yeah, you know, I was sitting there playing it real patient. You know, me and Rusty got way behind, and we decided to just, you know, we were grafting together and was running awful good, and then caution come out, and that's when the trouble happens. And we got tapped from behind a little bit. I don't know who it was, and it's one of them deals, Neil.
Looks like they got to do a little work to get this thing back in there for you.
Yeah, I don't know if they'll get it back together or not, but we'll work on it.
All right, bud, thank you. Yeah. Back to you, Ken.
Let's take another look in replay at this incident, which has brought out the third caution of the day. Next
Okay, we see the circle there, and you see the yellow car, or Urban there, up about in the middle of the racetrack. Now let's watch as they go in. See, he comes down just a little bit. Buddy Baker in the red car had committed himself for the bottom lane, and I'm sure Ernie didn't know Buddy was there, and it don't take much. He just tapped him a little bit, and it sent Ernie spinning around and then backed up into the other traffic, knocked Spencer into the wall on the outside. Now let's watch this 19 car following Richard Petty through there. Look what a great move he makes. Dale Jarrett right behind him. Dale gets down on the flat part of the apron, but Little goes right through there, gets back up on the banking, comes through there unscathed.
So there you see Ernie Irvin's car.
Well, I tell you, he's in third place coming into the points, coming into this race here today. This is going to really hurt him. There's no doubt about it. They're putting some tape on the car number 20 of Buddy Baker. Maybe a little bit of a tap there. Mark Joy.
Well, Ned, they're also got a piece of sheet metal there trying to improve the aerodynamics on Buddy's car so he can get back out there and run up in the lead pack. As you mentioned, he's a former winner here. He's the fellow that drafted Ron Bouchard along to where Bouchard scored that great last lap 3-wide victory against Terry Labonte and Darrell Waltrip in his rookie year. 15-second penalty on Baker. During that pit stop, counted David Iff, the crew chief, counting guys over the wall. Baker's version is that Irvin did come down the racetrack on him after he was already there and committed to the bottom lane, and clearly Buddy was right in the Ernie Irvin's blind spot off that left rear quarter panel. So now a heated argument between the crew chief and the NASCAR official over the penalty that was just assessed, and well, would have been a good day for Buddy Baker racing to the front is now taking quite a turn.
Well, of course, the 15 seconds won't hurt him nearly as much during a caution period as it would if it had been during green flag.
Well, they're going to have to brute strength that one back if they hope to go out and run for points at all. A year ago, he finished this event in 6th. Ernie Irvin today will be well down before this one's over. That's the third caution of the day in the Die Hard 500. Major incident. Back with more on that story in a moment.
Fact. Ford outsells Chevrolet and every other American competitor. Fact. Across the country, Ford outsells Honda, Nissan, and Toyota combined. Fact. Every year for the past 4 years, Ford has had the best-selling cars and trucks in America. Call it leadership. Call it winning. Call it anything you want. The simple fact is, Ford is number one. Save now during Ford's leadership celebration.
Wouldn't it be great if you invented magic recliners that took you anywhere? You guys took a trip to the Keys for some boating, volleyball, and a little snorkeling. And wouldn't it be great if just by pushing a button you got beer? Really great premium beer like Keystone.
What's this button do?
Cold filtered Keystone and Keystone Light. Bottle beer tastes in a can. Wouldn't that be great?
Oops.
The driver of this car adds something special to his motor oil. So does the driver of this car. They both use STP oil treatment for drivers on a racetrack or drivers on a fast track. STP.
You know you gotta get somewhere? You better know who you can trust.
Sears Brake Inspections. They're free 7 days a week.
But I'm not going to trust my car to just anyway.
And Sears Brake Service is so complete, it's backed by Sears Guarantee.
When they say it's guaranteed, it's guaranteed.
And right now, Sears Front Disc Brake Service is as low as $48. Stop at Sears and stop with confidence.
Who's gonna back you better than Sears?
Next Saturday, the Killer Bees, Bonds and Bonilla ignite the first-place Pirates against Ozzie and the Cardinals. Baseball's biggest moments are on CBS.
As the leaderboard turns after 109 of 188 laps complete, for the moment, Sterling Marlin has the advantage. Mark Martin is in second. That puts Ford 1 and 2 with a Buick in third of Hut Strickland, and Dale Earnhardt Chevrolet is in fourth. And Rick Mast with his Oldsmobile lies fifth on the field. Racing down through, there's Earnhardt in fourth, and Rick Mast fills out that top five. A little further back in the field, you find Bill Elliott in sixth. Ricky Rudd finds himself in seventh. Davey Allison having to start in eighth. Rusty Wallace in ninth, his Pontiac, and then Morgan Shepherd's Ford is in 10th position. 11th on the field is Jeff Bodine. Johnson car. Bobby Hillen having a good day, and the Savettis car is up to 12th. Chad Little stays there in 13th, being coached by Harry Hyde today, and 14th is Joe Ruttman. And Dale Jarrett from 40th is in 15th position for the Wood Brothers this afternoon. A little further back out there,
Still 18 cars in the lead lap. 16th is Michael Waltrip. Darrell Waltrip is 17th, and Buddy Baker still in the lead lap is 18th. Brett Bodine is 1 lap down in 19th, and Alan Kowicki is being shown in 20th. He too is 1 lap down.
1 to go, and they're going to start them off again here. That'll bring us to lap 111 when they return to green. Average speed is down again to 161.3 miles per hour as the pace car bunches them up. Let's go to Mike Joy.
Accident repairs continue on Ted Musgrave and Buddy Baker's cars, and Mike Waltrip's coming in for a top-off of fuel. But Darrell Waltrip's early strategy has proven prophetic. On that last run of green flag racing, he was well out back of the lead pack. He had told Jeff Hammond on the radio, if I can't get right up front, I'm going to go find a comfortable place to run, far enough back to be out of the way of the traffic jam, but close enough where I can still run them down. And that's just where he was, and was able to back off and thread his way through that melee. And now he's still in contention while some folks are in the garage. Neil?
Yeah, we're right here now. You were talking about Chad Little. I'm right here with Harry Hack. Harry, I know when I drove for you, love these old big racetracks, and Chad, you really got him running up there good right now.
Well, Chad's getting all out of what he's got. I'll have to say that. He ain't backed off all day, so we're just hoping for a little lucky break there and get in with a good draft. We can draft with the leaders. It's just that we have a little trouble getting up there. And once you get out of the pits a little later, get blocked, it really takes its toll on you, but he's doing a heck of a job in that Tyson Ford, and we're hoping people at Tyson are watching because he's giving it everything he's got.
I tell you, this guy here has done a heck of a job on these big racetracks. Let's go down to Chris Economaki.
All right, thank you very much. We're here with Rick Wilson, driver the number 8 Snickers car. Rick, when Ernie Irvin is involved in an accident, everybody wants to know how it started. Can you tell us your version?
Well, I don't believe Ernie Irvin, it wasn't his fault. Somebody tagged Ernie Irvin going into turn 1. We got Ernie sideways and, got him pretty bad out of shape. And, it was just something Ernie couldn't really help. I really couldn't see who done it, who got into him. But, it tore up a lot of good race cars. The Snickers build was running good today, and we were involved in it. We're out of the race for the rest of the day.
I saw the cars pretty well torn up. What kind of a shaking up did you take?
Well, I'll tell you what, in this type of racing, it's called what you call ringing your bell. It rung my bell pretty good, but tore a race car pretty bad. So it's going to end our day for the Snickers Buick.
Better luck next time. Thank you, Rick Wilson. Back to you, Ken.
Remember, Rick Wilson used to drive that number 4 car before Ernie Irvin.
Sure did. We're about ready to go green flag racing again, Ken. We got the field bunched up, I said a while ago, and I hope that was not any kind of an omen that when they're bunched up together, you're more subject to get in trouble, but they're bunched up again. The green flag waves, and Sterling Marlin takes off.
And with 112 of 188 laps now officially complete, Darrell Waltrip must run. Can't find a place to hide out there now. If he wants to go up, he has got to start flipping through traffic. A lot of stuff in front of him. 16 cars, to be exact, in that lead lap just in front of Darrell Waltrip as they head down the backstretch, with 18 cars being shown up in that first lap. Back straightaway is where Sterling Marlin is under challenge. You see Brett Bodine's car running a lap down. He's trying to make up that lap, being shown in 19th position. The green car won at North Wilkesboro for his only win a year ago. Way up on the outside comes number 6, Mark Martin, tries to fade down through to the inside and then decides he'll just tuck in and wait a moment.
Well, there's a lot of jockeying around going on back there. We understand that Sterling Marlin, who's out front now, that his jackman maybe has gotten hurt. Junior Johnson might be put back into action as the jackman for the rest of the day. They used to do it well, but it's been a while since Junior has swung that jack around the car.
One of the great pictures years ago was Junior swinging that jack, and was a NASCAR official standing a little too close, and he upended, looking right out of business. Back straightaway, trying to improve on 4 second-place finishes in his career, is Sterling Marlin out in front. There you see Martin right there with him. Meanwhile, further back,
Wicked, Jeff Bodine in car number 11. There's Michael Waltrip moving up through the field. He made a pit stop, as Michael Joy pointed out, to top the fuel tank off, but he's moving back up through there a little bit.
You see the 24 car with Dick Trickle at the keyboard this afternoon. Change of drivers there. A single file it down into turn number 1. I think that usually happens after you have one of these major altercations. Everybody just settles down for a few laps and kind of gets back into the groove. Here's Davey Allison making a break on the bottom of the racetrack, trying to come up through. Davey Allison in car number 28 from 8th. He slipped back a little on the start, and he's trying to counter right now.
Well, some of them didn't single down. Look at Michael Walker here running 3 abreast. 3 Pontiacs. That's Rusty Wallace in the middle. Dick Trickle up on the outside. He backs off a little bit. Here comes Chad Little. And the car number 75 of Joe Ruttman. Darrell Waltrip right down on the bottom of the racetrack now. That's a patented place for him to be. He might be ready to start rambling, but he doesn't have a lot of running room.
Up to 15 comes number 17, Waltrip, in that collection. 115 laps now complete as Sterling Marlin leads. Well, we've always talked about having those 10 or 15 car assaults on the finish line. We came fairly close to that last year when Dale Earnhardt won this race, but then he sorted it out and came across pretty clean. This could be the year when they line them up and make a charge. Well, there's Earnhardt right back to 4th, and you got to know he's ready to run strong. Rick Mast in the number 1 up on the outside trying to circle around him.
Remember the good run he had at Daytona, finished 4th, his best ever finish in Winston Cup racing. Rick Mast, he loves to run these high-speed racetracks, and Richie Jackson, who owns that car, does a good job of putting together these restrictor blade engines.
And as Earnhardt and Mast run side by side, the trio up in front draw away by about 3 car lengths. That will evaporate if they pull back into single file. Here's Earnhardt on the bottom, and he collects it. Ricky Rudd is a dancing partner, shoots the bottom of the racetrack. Let's see what they'll do in trying to contain that trio, trying to drive away. Marlin, Martin, Strickland, 1, 2, 3. Ford, Buick up on top.
Well, it is time of the race, Ken, even though they still have one more pit stop to make. But if they could, 2 or 3 or 4 of them get hooked up together and run away from the field, and then if they should have to make green flag pit stops, it would put them in much better shape out there rather than being in a big pack of cars as we're seeing right there. Here's the 20 car of Buddy Baker. We saw him in the pits. He made repeated pit stops trying to correct that damage on the right front of his Oldsmobile. A little bit of the tape flapping in the wind there. Don't think that'll bother anything for Buddy. In fact, it's not bothering his running. Watch him go up on the outside of Joe Ruttman.
For 15. Ruttman in 15th. Not any longer. Buddy Baker scoots along on the outside. I've got to tell you, the mental fatigue from this race.
Wow, that tape touched Michael Waltrip's car when he came out and made that move. I believe that helped him. I believe that made that car run faster.
Here's Baker making a tremendous run.
Having the time of his life, and I'll guarantee you he is very, very happy inside that race car.
It's his favorite racetrack. He's won 4 times here. Once in his Die Hard 500, 3 times in the Winston 500. Look at him come on.
He retired for more than a year, but he decided he needed to get back behind the wheel of a race car, had a team of his own, sold it, said, I want to drive for somebody else.
16th spot.
Let's take a look again. When he made that move, we saw that piece of tape or whatever it was coming off the car. That's Buddy Baker up on the outside. There it goes. I believe that's a piece of sheet metal or something that came off of the bumper.
193 mile an hour average in that last lap on all of these leaders. They're averaging 193 miles an hour running this close together. Marlin first, Martin second, Strickland third, and here comes Earnhardt. The Intimidator is up to 4th. They do give him room.
Well, he'll make room. He doesn't need the full width of the car to get through.
Art in itself.
Yes, sir.
And Earnhardt is the master. Here's Chris Economaker.
Well, we're here with Jimmy Spencer. Jimmy, who are you rooting for out there? Sterling Marlin, you know, Marlin and Jimmy Spencer are the only 2 drivers in the sport to wear toupees. Are you cheering for them?
Well, you know, I just hope that somebody wins that never won a race before, if it's Sterling or Hut Strickland or whatever. So, you know, whatever. Caution flag on the racetrack.
Okay, what do you see out there?
Well, we see some debris, we believe. We're being told there is debris, Chris, on the racetrack.
Probably that piece we saw fly off of Buddy Baker's car a little bit later, but it is debris on the racetrack, so caution is out.
Back here with the
Let's go to Mike Joy. He has more on that debris story.
Ken, we saw David Ifton crew tape that piece of aluminum to try to preserve the aerodynamics on Baker's car from where the 4 car came down into him. Apparently, they must have got a discount on their 200-mile-an-hour tape. It was only good for about 185, and off it went.
I thought it was 190. I thought
Well,
there
here,
was
here it
190
is
mile an
again.
hour
Well,
tape.
well, I don't know. They've always said 200 mile an hour tape, but today, there it is. There's a piece flying off. It looks like it just went right on up off of over the fence, but apparently it didn't. There's a big wire fence there, so yeah, it came back down. So I'm sure that is the debris that's caused the caution here now.
So we're showing the fourth caution period of the day, 18 laps under yellow thus far, and we'll come back with more of the action from the Die Hard 500 shortly.
The final major, the PGA Championship in 2 weeks.
In America, your car doesn't just get you from here to there. It's a part of your life. To give your car complete protection, Texaco is introducing new Haviland Formula 3 motor oil with not one but 3 kinds of protection against heat stress, starting friction, and engine dirt. New Haviland Formula 3. Add more life to your car.
Introducing the Bud Light IMSA Racing Team. Catch it this season. How do we get the truck back?
Throw it in reverse.
This is where America gets together. Every weekend throughout America, there is great NASCAR racing.
I wouldn't be anywhere else.
Love her, hold her, and remember our simple formula. At Dean Witter,
we measure success one investor at a time.
Every time it rains,
The Discover card pays a cashback bonus on every penny you charge.
pennies from heaven.
It pays to Discover.
Coming up next on CBS Sports, live final round coverage of the Cannon Greater Hartford. That's from the Tournament of Players Club in Cromwell, Connecticut. That's next on CBS this afternoon. Taking a look at the leaderboard there, it's Scott Hoke, who now is 8 under, and Billy Andrade is having a great day.
Well, I'll tell you, there's
Jim Gallagher.
so much competition in the golf nowadays. It's a pleasure to watch those fellas play. I just wish I could hit a ball half as good as they
Baron Pavin started the day out in front. Going to be exciting. Pat Summerall and company along a little later this afternoon. Hopefully stay right here with CBS and stay right with us to the finish as we have 122 laps now down, leaving 66 to be run, 324 miles complete here at Talladega, Alabama.
There's Ted Musgrave's car being pushed backwards. He's in a tremendous battle for the Rookie of the Year honors in the NASCAR Winston Cup Series. He was involved in that wreck.
They say that Joe Ruttman has been sent to the tail end net on that lead lap. A little excessive speed in the pits, and there's a penalty.
Yep, there's definitely a penalty as they work on the car off Ted Musgrave. Former champion of the ASA series in the Midwest, tremendous short track driver.
From the outset today, there has been a ugly harbinger of things that aren't too pleasant with big dark clouds, and they've just stayed out to the side of the track here, and we've had no rain as yet. All morning long they were predicting we might have some showers, but that has not come to pass. Behind the grandstand, it still looks mean.
Really been a great day for racing. You know, Harry Gant said, hey, it's not too hot out here. It's cool, but it was more this morning. It was so humid that the temperature was up there very high, so apparently it has cooled off a little bit out there, and it's a good day for racing.
Caution flag flying for the 4th time this afternoon.
That's Jack Steele we're seeing there with the yellow flag. Let's go to the pits and Okay, we'll hold it here for a moment as we see the Ted Musgrave car still in the pits as they continue to work on it. He and Bobby Hamilton are in a battle for the rookie standing. Now let's go to the pits and Joy.
Well, Bobby Hamilton's car being worked on back behind the wall, and D.K. Ulrich talking with his driver as they're trying to move it back and forth. The car may be stuck in gear. D.K., what's the matter with it? Well, they're going to try to push him, get him going in whatever gear he's in, and get him out there to roll around for a few points.
Okay, they get the signal for one more lap to go.
Spokane, Washington's Chad Little, who qualified 6th. Great effort. Now up in front, Harry Hyde, who worked with Chad for the first time at Pocono, and they came up with a 12th place finish there. Now have themselves the lead for the moment. This is the car they call Sherman. Wasn't that out of Rusty Wallace's team at one time, that car?
I don't know.
14 full-time guys on the crew, and 3 of them are fresh out of high school, and 2 are his brothers, so that's still kind of a homegrown team. They're doing very well as they lead here in car 19.
Still having trouble with this car number 55 getting it to going. They pushed it and tried to get it fired, and now they're pushing it back up pit road. Tough break there for Ted Musgrave. Yeah, Chad Little did not make a pit stop this time, Ken. Neither did Michael Walter. They both had stopped on the last caution and topped off with fuel, so they feel they can make it on one more stop. Everybody's going to have to stop at least one more time. So they said, hey, why not get up front? Harry Hyde always says that. Get on TV more if you're up front.
That's right. Stanley Smith in the number 49 is 1 lap down in the 19th position. He's trying to get one back from Chad Little as we get set on the start. Harry Hyde last week was saying, go up to the front, go up to the front. And finally, Little came on the radio and he said, well, Mr. Hyde, I think I ought to pit. He said, no. He said, well, why should I go to the front now? He said, well, you'll have more times for your sponsor. And he said, but I really don't have a sponsor. He said, well, you'll get one.
And he does have one on the side of it here today.
Does.
Okay, the caution is being waved again, so they aren't getting the green flag this time around, as we had suspected.
You know, Harry Hyde has said, and it's an interesting point, it's easier to drive a good car in the top 5 and mix it up than a poor one back in 20.
Oh, I don't think there's any question about that. That's been true in auto racing forever. We understand somebody threw a beer can out on the racetrack, and that's the reason we had to go one more lap. But, yeah, if you have a car that's capable of running up front, it's much easier to drive than a car that you're battling with back in the pack and not handling good, not running good.
That's just sick, sad, and insane when people throw stuff out on that racetrack. You're going 190 miles an hour, and there's Darrell Waltrip taking a leisurely look around the track under caution out here as he gets set to roll once again. Car number 17 is in
18th position.
18th position, right?
Last car on the lead lap. The points coming into this race, Ken, were Dale Earnhardt, of course, at the head of the list. Ricky Rudd second, Ernie Irvan third, Davey Allison fourth, Ken Schrader was in fifth. But boy, he's been out of this race for a long time. That's going to hurt. Mark Martin in sixth.
That 140-point difference between first and second. Earnhardt could pretty much sit on a race and have it, as opposed to last year when he was in second in the points coming into this battle. Earnhardt has really been strong, and it's been the fact that he's been consistent all year.
Oh, yes.
Look at these Winston Cup winners. And Allison, remember back on Memorial Day, wins at Charlotte, then that controversial race, and Ricky Rudd getting set down at Sears Point. And then we saw him on CBS win here at Michigan. Earnhardt's won just 2, but he is so consistent week after week. Mike?
Talk about a couple of bloodied contenders. Here is the other half of the rookie battle. Bobby Hamilton's car. He was all caught up in that incident, and they are completely rebuilding the front end of the car. Lower control arm here, putting a new ball joint in it, trying to get that up and under what is left. Fortunately, the mounting points where all these suspension components hook into the frame were not damaged in the crash. So it may be 20 laps or so, but as Musgrave continues to have problems, Bobby Hamilton's crew is trying to get him back out there and post another top rookie finish.
Thanks, Mike. Well, that's a bad break for Bobby Hamilton, who had a lot of time in grade out here yesterday. He worked every moment that he could on the track to get a feel for this thing. All right, field is getting organized, getting set, and they're at least a lap away from turning them loose.
Caution again, Ken. This time around, each time they've been given the signal for one more lap, but that particular time they were not given that signal. In fact, the pace car, the lights are still on the pace car.
Well, this morning, an unusual circumstance in the drivers' meeting. Ernie Irvan, who has been the center of controversy through much of the season, got up and offered an apology, a personal apology to every driver in the meeting. This is what he said.
I've talked to a few of the drivers this week and some of the car owners, and you know, I've lost a lot of respect. I've lost the respect of a lot of drivers and a lot of car owners in this garage area, and that hurts. I've drove a little bit over aggressive some. I'm going to work on trying to be a little more patient and want to earn everybody's respect back. I like to be liked in the garage area, and appreciate it maybe if you guys give me a shot at it. And I definitely want to be everybody's friend in here.
How tough was it for you to make those remarks?
Well, it was tough, Chris, you know, but this is like a big family in this garage area, and I want to be part of it, and I've always been part of it. And, you know, we've been in the center of controversy, and we don't mind being in the center of controversy on winning races, but someone's been in some wrecks. So, you know, we wanted to apologize to a lot of the people that suffered from it, the car owners, drivers, and, you know, try to mend a lot of friends, and, you know, hopefully be able to go out there and race with them nice and hard and clean, and, you know, get their respect.
What are the last few months have you been like for you?
Well, you know, it hasn't been...
Excuse me, here's the accident a little bit earlier, Ernie. Can you tell us what happened?
Well, I got bumped from behind, and, you know, then the car just took off, and then it looks like the 68 car, you know, run into me, and then the 8 car, and, you know, I was kind of the pinball in a pinball machine.
Well, then there's no controversy about this accident. But what about Ernie Irvine's walking around the racetracks the last month or two?
Well, the last month or two hadn't been too bad. This week hadn't been too good. You know, we finished, since Talladega here, we've run in the top 7 every race and hadn't really even had to paint the cars after. So, you know, we've kept our nose real clean and really, you know, did some good racing. And we got in a mix-up up there at Pocono. And the worst thing is when we get in a tangle-up with a car, it's never just a one-car deal, you know, because we're running towards the front all the time. And, you know, I just got to pick who I can race that hard with and who I can't race that hard with. And, you know, Dale and myself, we run into each other quite a bit, and you know, we keep on getting it. So, you know, just got to be a little more patient. We have a fast race car and a good race team, and, you know, awful thankful to Kodak, Delco Remy, and Chevrolet for everything they do for us. And, you know, we want to be here a long time to come, and, you know, we're still shooting for the championship this year.
Has the press been fair with you?
Well, you know, I don't know. You know, I haven't read anything they've wrote, and, you know, I just try to give them my opinion, and, you know, right now we're trying to be awful humble and, you know, just be good people in this garage area. You know, we need to be good to these people, and they can be good to us. And
what does your car owner say about all your problems?
Well, you know, he likes the way I drive, but he doesn't like being involved in wrecks. But I drive aggressive and I drive hard, and you know, Dale Earnhart was condemned for a long time for that, but now people are praising him for it. So, you know, just because he gets away that we can't, we just got to race good and race hard and stay out of trouble.
Stay out of trouble. Ernie, thanks for coming by. Back to you, Ken.
Well, Ken, it was a class act for him to get up in front of all the drivers there this morning, and I congratulate him for that. The green flag waves again here at Talladega.
We have 125 laps completed, the 188 to be run. And as they scoot down into turn number 1, Chad Little from the Northwest is out in front. He qualified 10th at Daytona back to the Pepsi 400. Then the car fell back. He ended up in 29th. He's trying to do that dark horse thing that is so synonymous with this racetrack. Remember those first years, 13 races, 13 different faces in victory lane? Well, here's Chad Little trying to bring that tradition back big time here. And Earnhardt came along, won 3 races. Waltrip won a couple. But other than that, it's all been single victories as we come to the 23rd annual Die Hard 500. And from Spokane, Chad Little just finished studying for the bar, comes down to the line and drops to the inside. That's not the kind of bar most of these guys in stock car racing relate to. Here he is.
Well, those first 3 cars until Chad Little gets past, neither of them have ever won a race. Michael Waltrip, Sterling Marlin, or Chad Little. Now Chad falling back a little bit as Michael Waltrip has taken the lead.
Falling back big time, all the way to 5th. Got caught on the inside and swept up by Michael Waltrip. Here comes Sterling Marlin. He's going for the lead. Ricky Rudd is right there. Davey Allison with him. You remember what happened between those two at Sears Point, California. Back in June, they played tag right on the finish line. Davey Allison was given the win. Ricky Rudd still stunned by that one. Rusty Wallace is becoming more of a factor every moment out here in the number 2 car. Rolls right up in there into 6th.
There's so many cars that are running still, 18 cars in the lead lap, and I guess either one of them has a chance and the potential to win this race.
Here comes Rudd making a challenge now. The Hendrick car down to the inside, trying to stumble up through there. Now tucks right back in and stays there.
Well, you see how tightly they bunch, get in single file. That's the way to draft. Little crack in the windshield there on the right side, which that's in Davey Allison's car. That won't bother him any, though.
Boy, those windshields are taking some abuse out here.
Well, they do. There's a tremendous amount of pressure on the windshields, and also when you go into the high banks here at Talladega, it puts a pretty good strain on the body of the car, and sometimes it might flex a little bit, and those windshields bolted pretty tightly in there. It'll cause them to crack.
18 cars remain in the lead lap. Davey Allison drops to the bottom. He's taking his shot. In the slingshot out of turn number 2. Davey Allison trying to fire it through. He pulls up alongside. Number 22, Sterling Marlin. This is for the lead. Live coverage on CBS, the Die Hard 500, and it's Davey Allison sweeping out in front in car number 28. As he goes for his 4th win since May. Ooh, tight running as you look out the back of Allison's car. Martin right there on the bottom for 2nd. And the quick line is now the bottom of the racetrack.
If your car will stick down there, that's certainly the short way around. And the heat hasn't really, there hasn't been as much heat in the asphalt here with the sun not shining down on it. So as a result, the bottom groove is still a very good place to run.
In this Die Hard 500, Davey Allison's best finish was 2nd back in 1987 to Bill Elliott. Pretty good view of the race. 2-car length advantage, and that is just about the biggest advantage anyone has had since Dale Earnhardt was out in front. Earnhardt led by about 4-car lengths for half a lap back in the early going. And look at this scrimmage.
Well, Earnhardt just went right up through the middle of Bill Elliott, and Sterling Marlin moved into 3rd place. Side by side racing for the lead. Let's see where Earnhardt's going to go here. Will he try that little opening? Yeah, he had a notion to, but he said no, it closed up too quick on him.
Now he goes to the outside. Look at that move by Dale Earnhardt, the old Richard Petty line, right up against the wall in the tri-oval, and it's enough to carry him through into turn number 1 and put the Chevy out in front of 3 Fords side by side.
That is impressive, folks. I'll tell you, when he could just drive up there without the help of somebody else's draft and drive by him on the outside. Of course, those 3 Fords running 3 abreast back there helped his cause a little bit, but they weren't running that way when Earnhardt moved around them.
Now, on the tail end of this lead lap, Baker is running 13th. 14th at the present time is Waldrop. 15th is Morgan Shepherd. Going 16th is Rick Mast. 17th in that lead lap is Dale Jarrett. And completing the lead lap is Joe Ruttman. And all of those 18 cars are in this gathering fighting for the lead.
Well, I'll tell you, this is exciting racing. I love it. But it is conducive to things happening when they're running that fast, that close together. Folks, they're running now over 195 miles an hour on these straightaways and still over 190 when they reach the turns. They don't slow down much in the turns.
Average is about 192.6 for that last lap or 2. Earnhardt right there in front. Now here on the outside is Sterling Marlin trying to get around the number 6 of Mark Martin, and no place to go.
We see the car number 7 of Alan Kowicki. He's still in there. Unfortunately, he's still a lap down, being shown in 19th position. He just can't get up there. He runs with the leaders, no problem, but he just can't get up there and get back in the lead lap.
And look at that number 3 car of Earnhardt scoot away as he comes through that 18-degree tri-oval. Get a time on him right here. Give you some indication of the speed being turned by Dale Earnhardt as he fights it out with Mark Martin dropping to the inside to challenge. This at lap 135. Martin going back for 1st place. Bill Elliott moves up in car number 9. They're going to be 3 wide in turn 3.
Wow. And here's Kowicki, Sterling Marlin up on the outside. Martin caught in the middle.
They pin Mark Martin to the mat.
Here comes Hut Strickland down on the inside. You see back there 3 rows deep. Hut Strickland trying to make it 3 wide, and he does as they come through the tri-oval here. Or is it 4 wide? There's Michael Waldrop up on the top.
It's 5 wide, back 3 rows.
Folks, this can't keep going. Something will have to happen if they keep that up.
192 mile an hour. The last lap, 191.9. And they're running inches apart. 18 cars battling to the side. The 23rd annual Die Hard 500. For the moment, it's Earnhardt.
Davey Allison went from 1st to 13th in just 2 laps.
Sterling Marlin second, then the lap car. Alan Kulwicki, number 7, is trying with that Ford to get that lap back. Here comes Ricky Rudd, the number 5 car, in that 3rd position on the high side.
He sees that Alan Kulwicki is very fast. He wants to go with him up there on the outside, but Earnhardt closes the door on him.
Well, Earnhardt can't hold him off here if they can find any room. Neil Bonnet.
Yeah, Ken, I'm down here. I've talked to a lot of these crew chiefs and these guys working these cars. Very little work went on with the chassis on the last stops. One reason you're seeing the racing it is the guys have got the cars the way they want them. They had the luxury of several stops to tune them in, get the chassis the way they want it. They feel pretty good to them, and they're just going to race now, and they're doing a lot of that.
Neil Bonnet, when you won this race back in 1980, you won it against Earnhardt and Cale. They were right there with you, right to the line, and Benny Parsons was in that group. It was a 4 or 5 car sort out. Where do you think you want to be if you have intentions of taking the checkers? Up on the point or in that 2nd spot today?
Again, back in those days, we had the big horsepower to turn loose power on them, and it was beneficial to be in 2nd place or somewhere where you could jump out of the draft. Right now, the point is the place to be. We just, as you mentioned, we saw Davey go from the lead to 13th place in a couple of laps. It's like a big chess game. You either look like a hero or the biggest dummy in town. It's just too much happening at one time.
No, that's a good point. Bertie Irvin has just gone back out on the track. The field is going to come up on him very shortly. Watch the front of the field. We'll see Ernie Irvin's battered cars. Dale Earnhardt will go around him. There he is. They're coming up right behind him. But you can see a lot of sheet metal gone from his car. He won't be a factor, but wants to get out there and run as many laps as he can, pick up as many points as he can.
The Talladega freight train runs over him. Ernie Irvin back in 35th position. It's got to hurt when you want to be up there with that group and you're that far.
Oh, yeah, it does hurt. But he got out of the way and let him go.
Leaders completed 136. Irvin's completed 105. The record of the Hespers comes by.
That kind of aerodynamics won't get it in this kind of racing, folks. It might do it on a Saturday night quarter of a mile or a half a mile dirt, but not here at Talladega.
Now look at Kulwicki and car number 7. Alan Kulwicki is trying desperately to get that lap back. He senses, as you sense, Ned, they can't run this tight, this close together without something going awry, and he wants to be in a place to make up that lap and take a shot at winning it all.
There's Davey Allison trying to work his way back up. He had dropped down to 13th, but he's on his way back towards the front.
And this perspective tells you how much they move, how much they wiggle, how much they have to fight for control every inch of the way at 190 miles an hour plus to win the Die Hard 500. Stay with us for the exciting conclusion.
We all like to keep our car looking new. That's why so many people use Armor All Protectant. Armor All cleans and shines the rubber, plastic, and vinyl. And it protects all those surfaces, too. So Armor All makes your car look like new. And helps it last longer. And that makes you look pretty smart. Armor All, it keeps you looking good.
Armor All Protectant is now on sale for only $249 at all Sears Tire and Auto Centers.
This summer, Van Damme is back to back. There's 2 of them. Twin brothers. Let's do it. Too tough for any man. Too hot for any woman.
That's what I love about you.
See Van Damme like you've never seen him before. Trust me. See Double Van Damme. Double Impact. Rated R. Feel the impact Friday, August 9th at a theater near you.
One car manufacturer has more NASCAR victories than anyone. Winning over 350 NASCAR races, over 4 decades of racing. That car manufacturer is Ford. And that kind of winning performance goes beyond the winner's circle.
It's one of the most technologically advanced, most rigorously tested fluids on Earth, relentlessly measured for maximum protection against the friction, the wear and tear, the heat and stress of today's engines. It is today's Quaker State. In Europe, in Japan, in America, Quaker State quality has passed the most demanding tests automakers can throw at it. At Quaker State, we don't just say we're tough. We're tested tough. The Big Q is one tough motor oil.
This Die Hard 500 race summary is sponsored by Quaker State. The Big Q is one tough motor oil. Here in the Die Hard 500, 18 cars continuing to run in the lead lap. The average speed is only 152 miles per hour. But don't believe it. The average per lap is about 192. We've had some cautions out here today that have slowed this field down. 4 for a total of 25. 7 cars have retired from it. 11 different runners of the 41 that started the race have had a chance to be out in front. And for the moment, the leader is the 3-time winner of this event. 1983, 84, and 1990. Dale Earnhardt has been the Die Hard 500 champion. And for the moment, he has a 1-car length advantage over the hottest driver on the circuit through the month of June, Davey Allison. Bill Elliott is into 3rd. Mark Martin is in 4th. Michael Waltrip hangs on in that 5th position. In the 6th position is Hut Strickland. Rusty Wallace 7th. Chad Little having a dandy day is in 8th. Bobby Hillen in 9th. And Buddy Baker is in 10th position. Coming back out onto the track at the front of the field, those 18 cars battling for the lead roll by is Stan Smith. There's your leader. It's Earnhardt, and it's Allison. Remember, this is exactly how they finished a year ago. Earnhardt, Allison. Here's Mike Joy.
Steve Hamill, your driver, Mark Martin, got squeezed from 2nd back to about 10th, like toothpaste coming out of a tube. Now he's climbing his way back up. Can you believe the kind of race you're seeing today?
You ought to be listening to Mark on the radio. He's raising Cain. He'd a whole lot rather the real quick cars line up, and you wouldn't have to outrun but 4 or 5 guys. You get to mess and run around side by side, you got to race 25 people. You have accidents and you get aggravated. But we got a long way to go. We're going to find him a hole here in a minute. He's going to drive it back up front.
Well, what happened to the buddy system along pit road? Can you find him somebody to hook up with?
Well, every time we get with somebody wants to lead. You know, if they'd all just get together and feel like they were sure about what they wanted to do, but everybody needs to lead. There's a lot of pressure to run good, so just when you think you got it worked out where you want, somebody pops on the inside or the outside, so I don't believe there's a whole lot of buddy system left.
Not much out there. Let's get out of Neil Bonnet.
Mike Joy, on the same train of thought, I was down here in Davey Allison's pit. When he got bumped from 1st back to 13th, he called him on the radio. They said, "Are you having a problem?" He said, "I just don't like where I'm at." And he didn't mean Talladega. Luckily enough, he's got a good enough race car. He's working his way back to the front. He's getting the same chatter on these radios as Mark's giving. They're not giving each other a lot of room out there.
Neil, one of the things we should mention is that Waltrip has backed up. He is running on the tail end of the lead lap, and car number 17 has fallen away from that pack that's running for the lead. And look at the windshield on Waltrip's car.
Yeah, you can see that it's in pretty foul shape. You can't see very good. There's a little bit of a crack, but that, I don't know, there's something all over that windshield, and he's totally out of the draft. You can see for a long way in front of him, there's nothing but racetrack up there, so he has lost the draft of the front runners.
So that means 17 cars continue to run up there together, trying to decide this skirmish. As you see, Darrell Waltrip, now there are the leaders, with number 3 Earnhardt first, and there's the 28 of Allison and the lap car for Wiki. The 3rd place car is number 9 Bill Elliott, followed by Michael Waltrip, and number 30 in 4th, and in 5th it's Ricky Rudd with Rusty Wallace in the black number 2 and 6, and there's Ernie Irvin. Many laps down, being shown 34th on the field. And remember, we've only had 7 retirees after all the incidents, all this action.
There's a lot of triple race cars still out there running around.
Let's go back to Chris Economaki.
I've been watching Richard Petty out here today. He's not among the leaders, but today Richard Petty is starting his 1,144th race. There he is. That's 450 races more than the next busiest driver on the circuit, Buddy Baker. Petty has not won a race since July 4th, 1984, but he's still out there trying every time there's a Winston Cup race.
Right now he's running in 21st position, lap down from those leaders, but still out there trying.
Oh yes, he's running very well. He has caught Darrell Waltrip. Now he and a pack of cars have caught Waltrip, so Waltrip will have somebody to draft with.
And look at Allison on the outside. Let me correct one thing as we watch Allison. running that Ford up for the lead. A year ago, when Earnhardt won it, it was Elliott in second, Marlin was in third, and Alan Kulwicki came up with a good, strong fourth. Davey Allison had second here a couple of years back in this very same race. Right now, he's trying to hone in on a victory with 147 of 188 laps complete. 87 is when Davey had that runner-up position out here. Back to second. Coming into the tri-oval to complete 148 laps. Davey Allison on the charge. We'll return with more live coverage of the Die Hard 500 from the Talladega Superspeedway after this message and a word from your local station.
A company can learn a lot in 125 years. As you learn, you make your product better and better. 125 years of quality. That's why people who know use Valvoline.
It's the Craftsman Anniversary Celebration, and this half-horsepower garage door opener with 2 transmitters is priced right. And this powerful 3¼ horsepower wet-dry vac is just $99.99. So get to Sears today.
I love women.
Dr. Fleischman takes a pregnant pause to teach childbirth.
It's time. Woo! She's in labor. I want my epidural!
Northern Exposure, Monday.
This is CBS.
Back in the 70s, some people drove hundreds of miles for original Coors because it was only sold out west. I know, because we did it. That's me, and that's my buddy, Jeff, with his date for the evening. Here we are on Route 66. No air conditioning, no spare, no problem. Bingo. Tasted like it was fresh out of the Rockies. I can get original Coors at home now. Great trip, great beer.
Okay, here's the play. Big Al is in motion to the right. Hands off to sports anchor Ron Burke. What a team! Channel 10 just won the AP award for the best sports in Pennsylvania. They're up to something. Wait. Here's Eagle coach Rich Kotite. Now he's calling the plays for Channel 10. I don't believe it. All-pro Eagles quarterback Randall Cunningham. Channel 10 scores again. Hey, wait a minute. I don't believe it. It's a replay. Channel 10 Sports. My kind of team.
Catch the fun on Family Feud, weeknights at 7 on Channel 10.
This CBS Sports Special, the Die Hard 500, is sponsored by Valvoline. People who know use Valvoline. Ford and your Ford dealer. Have you driven a Ford lately? And by Gatorade Thirst Quencher. Gatorade for that deep down body thirst.
As the field completed the 150th lap in the Die Hard 500, 2 cars scraped the outside wall going into turn number 1, and there they rest midway between 1 and 2. Hut Strickland's number 12, Jeff Bodine's number 11 that brought out the 5th caution of the day. With Ned Jarrett, look again at what happened here.
Well, Hut Strickland was down on the inside, and he just got up into Jeff Bodine and pinned him against the wall, and both of them stayed right up there against the wall. Hut came off for a little bit and then slammed back into it, but still stayed up there. The other cars dived down to the inside, and Bodine stayed right up there with him. He couldn't get off of the wall, and they just went right on into turn 1. Bumper to bumper into that turn, but both of those cars apparently out of it now.
It's going to be a little tricky getting him down off that 33-degree bank from another angle.
Well, they had just gone across the start-finish line when they got together. Hut apparently didn't see Jeff Bodine on the outside, and he hooked Bodine right rear of Strickland's car on the left front of the Ford of Bodine, and put both of them right into the wall.
Morgan Shepherd, the lucky individual there down on the bottom, able to squeak through. Just prior to that, we had measured the interval between 1st and 17th position. This was at lap 149. The difference between 1st to 17th was 1 7/10 seconds. That's hardly the bat of an eyelash. And this will be the last pit stop. This should bring them home. Yep. No problem at all.
There might have been 1 or 2 that had thoughts of going all the way from there on, but let's go back to the pits now, and Mike Joy.
Race leader and defending Die-Hard 500 champ Dale Earnhardt comes in. He's going to get one of those, a cold drink there, and they're trying to hand him one of those bandanas as well. So Earnhardt will take on at least the right side tires. He's well out from the pit wall, so he may get 4 here. John Malloy brings the tires around, and it's going to be just 2. Earnhardt's away. Good, quick stop as usual.
That team just doesn't miss.
No, they're right there every time. No question about it.
All right, getting them sorted out as they come back out from this stop at lap 152. Among the runners who have been most impressive here, Buddy Baker. Remember his last win, July 4th, 1983 at Daytona. He has run as high as 7th in that last group. Here's Mike Chilton.
See how Darrell Waltrip's car is parked right out against the line. Now, that's legal, but it caused quite a problem for Mark Martin, because Martin had to wait and then swerve way out to get along pit lane and out of his pit stall there. And there were just a word or two between the crew chiefs there along the pit lane. Steve Emile still standing out in the road there. Steve, was Mark able to get out okay, or things get a little close here?
He hit Darrell as they left, but they wasn't running fast enough to hurt anything. I figured he probably hit people harder than that on the racetrack. But we hate it. You know, we just got gas, and these guys were coming in a little late. We only sat here for 4 seconds of fuel, so we're in good shape. We need to get back toward the front. I don't think there's any front end damage.
Okay, gas only for Mark Martin. Let's go to Neil.
Mike, I was up here talking to a lot of these lead cars, and this caution was a blessing for some, and it really cost the others. Davey and his guys and a bunch of lead cars, they were about 8 laps out of their window. They were going to have to make an extra stop. Ned, you guessed it and hit it on the nail. The 1 car and the 75 were going to be able to go the distance. And when that caution came out, I was in the 1 pits, and I was in dangerous territory because they were throwing stuff everywhere. They thought they could make it the rest of the way.
And the 75, Joe Rutten was taking that gamble, too. Well, so after the sort out, there you see it. That's the man they've got to deal with, Earnhardt for sure. More from the Die-Hard 500 in a moment.
Nothing beats a winning team. Pushing hard, reaching for that dream. Nothing beats clean, crisp and cold. Got the king of beers, you're on a roll. Nothing beats our best Budweiser. Nothing beats a Bud. When the races run, we'll be number 1. Nothing beats a Bud.
Caught ya! You guys aren't supposed to be in here.
Hey, no problem, Honorable Dojo guy.
This is an import car.
Hey, we're the auto lights. Guaranteed in any language. Feel good.
Imports too?
Yeah, 2 years, no matter how far we go.
But I...
Oh, sorry.
Hey, but I...
So sayonara. Hey, I feel good.
Okay.
I knew that I would not.
The driver of this car adds something special to his motor oil. So does the driver of this car. They both use STP oil treatment for drivers on a racetrack or drivers on a fast track. STP.
The same battery that has started 9 out of 10 Die-Hard 500 winners since 1977. Also starts millions of cars like yours every day. Die-Hard. More power when you need it most.
Fact. Ford offers performance that's supercharged and turbocharged. Fact. Ford offers 16, even 24 valve engines. Fact. Mustang GT, Probe GT, Thunderbird SC, Escort GT, and Taurus SHO make up the best-selling line of performance cars, American or import. Call it leadership. Call it winning. The simple fact is, Ford is number 1. Save now during Ford's leadership celebration.
We're back with you at Talladega, Alabama. 154 of 188 laps have been complete, 409 miles, and there you see the official retirees from the event. Wally Dallenbach brought out the first caution of the day. Ken Schrader had a motor go down on him. Harry Gant was in a wreck that's knocked the front end off car number 33. Rick Wilson, Jimmy Spencer, Lake Speed were all caught up in a crash at about the same time. Derek Cope's car is retired with an oil leak. Brett Bodine has officially gone out, and we expect that 2 more names will be added to that list, but they're having a problem getting them down off the wall. In the past 5 seconds, they've just moved Hut Strickland's car, and now here comes the number 11, and you really have to be careful up here on this bank.
Oh, you can't. They couldn't send a wrecker up there to get those cars in. They had to get the cars down so they could get them to a wrecker. There have been wreckers that have turned over off of this bank. You can see the weight. A wrecker has so much weight up on it that it'll just topple over from up there, and so they had to get the cars down there so it could go to them.
It'll topple a pace car or a pickup truck if you're not careful out here and run too slowly around these 33-degree banks. More from Talladega in a moment.
One manufacturer has more NASCAR victories than anyone. More NHRA Pro Stock victories than anyone. More consecutive IMSA GTO victories at Daytona than anyone. And more off-road victories in the last 5 years than anyone. That manufacturer is Ford. No wonder nobody enjoys the weekend like Ford.
It's my family. I want tires I can trust.
25 years ago, Sears introduced Michelin road handlers to America.
I really do have a lot riding on my tires.
And today, Sears introduces new Michelin road handlers.
I'm not going to buy just any tires.
With advanced road handling tread and a 60,000-mile warranty coast to coast. Michelin road handlers, the tires America trusts at the store America trusts.
Who's going to back you better than Sears?
When you buy Valvoline motor oil, you get quality, high performance, protection, and now, for a limited time only, great taste. It's Valvoline's 125th birthday, and right now when you buy 12 quarts of Valvoline and buy 12 cans of any Coca-Cola product, we'll pay for the Coca-Cola product. People who know use Valvoline. With other motor oils, you just won't get the great taste of Coca-Cola Classic.
The same battery that has started 9 out of 10 die-hard 500 winners since 1977 also starts millions of cars like yours every day. Die Hard, more power when you need it most.
It's the Craftsman Anniversary Celebration, where this 85-piece mechanics tool set, guaranteed forever, is only $59.99. And this 19-drawer professional chest and cabinet is an exceptional value. So hurry to Sears.
Ozzie Smith may not be flipping as much as he used to, but the Wizard can still pick it with the glove. The 11-time Gold Glove winner, who is 7th in National League in hitting, leads the third-place Cardinals against the Eastern Division leading Pirates, hoping to pick up some ground. Other viewers will see the American League East leading Toronto Blue Jays and the Boston Red Sox. Major League Baseball next Saturday on CBS Sports. In Major League Motorsports, it's Talladega, Alabama. It's late in the going. 155 laps complete of the 188, and Dale Jarrett from 40th position has brought the Wood Brothers colors into the lead. That is some run that he has had, even with those stops, making the ground sometimes under these flags. Beginning of the race, it was doubtful he was even going to be around for 5 laps today.
Yeah, they reported an oil leak at the start of the race, and then starting back and forth, reported that they had changed the engine 5 times trying to get more speed out of the Ford, but they just couldn't seem to get things going. But hey, the car apparently drafts well. He stayed up in the lead lap all day and drafted and then made a super pit stop.
And the big story is that Dale Jarrett next year goes to work under the tutelage of the coach of the Washington Redskins. That ought to be some move for that team. Jimmy Maycar, actually your son-in-law and your son. You met Joe Gibbs here at this track in May, down here for the Winston 500, and you didn't really take that too seriously about him bringing a team out.
Well, I was introduced to him by Jimmy Johnson of the Hendrick Motorsports organization, and Jimmy did say that Joe Gibbs was going to form a Winston Cup team. But I didn't think, certainly didn't think that Dale Jarrett would be involved in the thing at that time. Had no reason to doubt what he was going to form the team, but, just didn't think that much about it. Then things began to happen.
But you have no doubt about how serious Gibbs is for next year.
Oh, he is very serious, no question about it. He is very serious about putting together an absolute first-class team. And, of course, the Jarrett clan is happy that he chose Dale as the driver and Jimmy Maycar as the crew chief.
And, of course, that's Chevrolet, which they'll be running. For more on that story, let's go to Mike Joy.
Well, the Wood brothers have had cars here in Victory Lane at Talladega with drivers like Arneal Bonnet and David Pearson behind the wheel. And, well, Leonard Wood, you started 40th this morning on maybe a wing and a prayer to get to the front. And my gosh, here you are. And Dale has brought that thing all the way to the front. I might add with some good pit work from you folks.
Well, he's done a real good job today and, stayed after it. And we was really going to try to go for it all the way anyway. And, of course, then we come in and got a little extra fuel, so it should be able to make it for sure now. But we was going to try for it anyway.
Is he running well enough to stay out there and win this thing?
I don't know. When he came off that bank, and he seemed to be running better before he came off that bank and then bent the front spoiler up, and he seems to be pushing a little bit, and it's kind of pushing out on him a little bit and can't stay down to the inside like he'd like to.
Let's see how he fares when they drop the green flag and get this restarted.
Well, we were mentioning that Joe Gibbs, the head coach of the Redskins, has recently formed a new racing team for NASCAR next year. But how will he be able to split his time between the football field and the racetracks?
Well, I'm switching roles here. I'll be an owner. And so basically, I'm going to try and hire the people that can do the job. And we got a fantastic team, I think, put together. Dale Jarrett, the drive, and getting Jimmy Maycar was like, that was unbelievable to get a chance to get a crew chief like that who will actually be the coach of this outfit. And I got other good people working on it. So really, I'm just going to try and help pick the people. And I feel like then we're going to be successful.
There's Bill Elliott on the track in the car number 9. He's been running up front all day long. He's had a tough year. His a divorce, a crewman killed in Atlanta, then his grandmother and his mother dying. And now just this week it was announced that his sponsor of so long, Coors Beer, is going to leave. And that means that that team will be without the financials to go next year unless they get a replacement sponsor. And that has triggered rumors that Bill Elliott may move over to Junior Johnson's team. And that, of course, has got to be concerned to either Jeff Bodine or Sterling Marlin. So Bill Elliott has had a tough year right now, and now he's got to wonder about 1992.
Chris, I believe that he is going to go with Junior Johnson next year, and I wouldn't be surprised if somewhere along the road you wouldn't see a V6 program from Ford, and that Bill Elliott might be deeply involved in that, and Ernie, who always liked those V6s, might get a crack at it. We got to get to Neil Bonnet for a moment.
Yeah, we're here with Mike Beam, his crew chief on Sterling Marlin's car. Y'all put some tires on, along with Davey Allison. You're back in the pack a little bit, and I see you talking with Davey's crew. What's the game plan?
Well, we're going to try to hook up the 28 car, the 9 car, and see if we can get up front, because the other day in the draft, that combination worked fairly well for us, and we got a little bit behind. We got hung out to dry there because I don't think nobody really wants to draft with us that much, at first, especially those Chevrolets, and so they hung him out to dry, and he got kind of mad. He's pretty mad right now, so I think he's going to get with it.
I'll tell you what, these manufacturers battling all the time, and we're picking to see the Ford jump on the Chevrolet and see who wins this thing.
And you have 6 drivers in that lead pack who've never won a race. Jarrett, Michael Waltrip, Rick Mass, Sterling, we were just talking about, Chad Little, Joe Rutman. This is going to be some finish. We have 188 laps complete as we get ready to go. When I talk about that V6 program, of course, we're mentioning NASCAR Grand National, which has really taken on a new life of its own in 1991.
Well, it really is. And Ford is a little behind on the development of their V6 program. And Ernie Elliott certainly has had a strong interest in that in the past. He has done some development work on it. Wouldn't surprise a lot of people to see maybe him get into that. But, that's pure speculation. But speculation's about to come to an end here for the green flags waving. We'll see how long Dale Jarrett can stay out front.
Right you are as they come to the stripe. Here's Alan Kowicki on the bottom, still trying to get that lap back. And it looks like that car wiggled the number 7 for just a moment as it came down that short straightaway. To find the hole, number 7 has made up the lap, and Wallace wants to take it all the way right here. And here's Mr. Earnhardt, number 3, barreling along on the bottom. Bombarding down that backstretch, the number 3. But look at this shuffle as they go to turn 3. Michael Waltrip making a great move. He circles around to the outside, shot right through the eye of the needle. He pulls up on the high side and tries to stay with Earnhardt. Earnhardt had nothing to do with it. Draws him away by a...
The outside there hung out running by himself, but when some of them got in front of him, and opened up and got out there. That helped him a little bit. Now they're 3 abreast coming through here again.
Look at this struggle. Wallace, for the first time today, goes out in front big time, and Mark Martin looks like he's off the pace. Car number 6, slowing up. He was back in 16th on the restart, and he has a flat right rear tire. And that's going to be the end of the story on Mark Martin for the lead as things shuffle down the backstretch. Wallace first. Of course, you got a caution here. That would help Martin. Look at this traffic jam.
The way they're running, they could get a caution awfully easy, but we've seen that kind of racing all day long. So
it is a traffic jam at 190 miles per hour. Everyone trying to park in the same place. Victory lane. 160 of 188 laps complete, and Davey Allison leans on Rick Maskell. Well, I think this is the finish we've been waiting for all those years, Ned. Right now, unless Earnhardt and Wallace can get hitched up and pull away from this thing, there is going to be some kind of scramble to decide this 23rd annual Die Hard 500.
Well, no doubt about it, but Ricky Rudd is the man now that would like to hook up with Earnhardt and try to pull away, and Michael Waltrip doing a good job sitting there in 3rd place. They're all really jockeying for position there now, trying to get themselves in position that they can pull away from anybody behind them.
Michael Waltrip just getting better and better. Had that terrible crash in Bristol, Tennessee. Just destroyed an automobile, came right back, and here comes the number 6, making up time, trying to get back into this thing, but it's from a ways back.
Well, I tell you, he doesn't have a flat tire there now, the way he's running. He just sort of got off to a slow start. Mark Martin's going to be a factor in this thing before it's over.
I think that report was on the tail end of when they got ready to start, that he had to go all the way to the back. And he is way out back because he didn't catch the field as they came down to the flag.
Okay. And we understand that he could possibly only have high gears, which would really hurt him on a restart. But he's coming back. He's caught the draft now. That's Mark Martin, but Earnhardt is leading the draft up front.
And look at Wallace fall back to 4th. Bobby Hillin Jr., 86 winner, big upset. He's 5th, right behind the number 7 of Kowicki. Felix Sabetas, who has really become a power in Winston Cup racing, put together a strong team with Gary Nelson and Kyle Petty as the driver, and they came out determined. Then Kyle, in a savage crash, broke a leg, and there have been 2 or 3 drivers to get the opportunity to run this car. Bobby Hillman's meant a lot to because it's pushed him way up in the points as he continues to search for a regular ride in 1992.
Watch, here's Mark Martin coming up. Chad Little down on the inside, and Martin moves around the car 75 of Joe Ruttman. Found that bottom groove, really working for him.
Ruttman in 13th position. Baker right there in 14th as Martin tries to move through. Now you see 6 cars drawing away by about 20 car lengths with 164 laps complete. Chris?
Sitting here with Jeff Bodine watching the race. Jeff, it's a tough break you had up there. What led you and Hutch Strickland into the wall?
Well, first I need to say hello to Kathy. She's back home watching. I'm okay. Barry's up in the suite. I'm okay, everybody. No, Hutch just thought there was a gap between Sterling and myself going down that straightaway under the start-finish line, and there wasn't. He came over, and I had my nose up to his quarter panel right rear tire, and we touched, and of course that turned both of us into the wall.
You look okay, Jeff. You know, there's rumors that Phil Elliott may go to the Junior Johnson team next year, and you drive for the Junior Johnson. Can you comment on that?
Well, if he does, I'll go to the Bill Elliott team. He's running pretty strong out there. It wouldn't be that bad a deal, but I don't think there's anything to it. So, you know, rumors. You've been in the middle of some rumors before, haven't you, Chris? I heard you and some other women were messing around one time.
Uh-oh. Yeah, that's pretty good. Other women, huh? Listen, Jeff, you see the scoreboard? Which one of those guys is going to come home first?
Boy, you know, I can't tell you. 3, 5, 30, 2. There's all those guys are running good. You know, we see Davey Allison trying to get back in front. Darrell Waltrip helping him there. Mark Martin's coming back up through. Any of those guys really do have a chance at winning if they can just get in the right position. That's all they're trying to do right now, just get in that right position for the last couple laps.
If you were in there, who were you worried about the most?
Well, I was worried about them all. They're all tough. I was having
And here's trouble on the front straightaway, big time trouble. It's Rick Mast on his roof.
Upside down, Rick Mast skating into the infield.
Right across by the start-finish line, directly in front of us, Rick Mast. Getting in the wall, the tri-oval area, he has slid about 1,000 feet. And the car coming to rest directly below us.
And fortunately, Ken, that car didn't keep running. I mean, didn't keep tumbling up in the air. We hope and pray that Rick is okay, but I would venture to say that the chances are better because it didn't start flipping.
Rick Mast had been in 11th position when this incident took place.
Okay, there's Buddy Baker down on the inside of him, and Buddy touches him. Buddy Baker does indeed touch Rick Mast, gets him sideways. There's Mark Martin right behind him. And you see when he comes down off of that banking, the air gets under it. That left a big space there that the air could get under it, flip him up on the roof. There's Joe Ruttman coming up on him. He slides up to the high side of the racetrack on his roof, touches the outside wall, slams into there, and Rick, he said, where am I? He's got to wonder where in the world he is. And then he just slides all the way down the track for several hundred yards. And the safety crew is there with him now as we see his car continue to slide down off of the racetrack. Fortunately, everybody else got by, did not hit him.
This incident taking place at lap 165, 23 laps to go. Rick Mast, a contender to win it all, comes up in a serious incident as he and Buddy Baker tangled on the 18-degree tri-oval here at Talladega, Alabama, and he's coming out of the car.
He's coming out of the car.
There he is.
All right, boy, that is always good news. He waves to the crowd. I'll tell you, that had to be a scary ride.
Look again.
We're heading through the tri-oval. And Buddy Baker, the red car, tries to move by on the inside, and he touches Rick just enough to get him sideways. And then when the front wheels got down on the flat part, the rear wheels were up on the banking. That's 18 degrees of banking through there. That opened up a lot of air under that car, and it just picked it up, sent it on its roof. And he slides for a long way down the racetrack. He has to wonder, when in the world is this thing going to stop, and is anything going to hit me? A little bit woozy. Car still on its roof. The safety workers there, they were there immediately as soon as the car stopped sliding on the roof, and here he comes. Rick's a pretty good-sized fella. Doesn't have a lot of room to crawl out from under there, but I'll tell you, a great sight to see him crawling out from under there.
He's climbed out from beneath a lot of them on a lot of tracks, but never, I believe, at that speed.
No, sir. I'll tell you, that's had to be some kind of a sensation.
You've been there.
Well, fortunately, I never got a Winston Cup car on his roof while I was driving. I was very fortunate in that respect. A lot of sportsman-type cars, yes.
Chris?
Well, you know, this has got to be a big disappointment to the NASCAR officials. They've done a lot of work aerodynamically on these cars. They extended the roof rail over the rear glass, and they put side spoilers on the trunk, and on the left side of the car, they put the panel. It's now on the lower right, feeling that this would keep the car on the ground in that kind of a situation, to try and keep the air out from under the car. And it obviously did. You could see the car was playing airplane there as it got upside down. Now, what NASCAR will do now with its aerodynamic changes, who knows?
Chris, I don't think you could have done much. I mean, part of the car was on the apron, part was on the 18-degree bank. There's no way.
Let's watch it again. You're right. This is a particular set of circumstances here. We see them coming out through the tri-oval here, and then Buddy Baker runs up there and taps Rick Mast right there, gets him sideways, and then we're going to see when he gets down and his front wheels get down on the flat part of the track, there's like a foot of air space there, right in that area there. See, the spoiler, the front spoiler is down on the racetrack. That would have a lifting effect itself, and then all of that airspace under there, just let it pick it up. And really, they have done a great job of the rules and trying to keep them on the ground, but you get in a particular situation of this sort.
That's 3,500 pounds going up there.
Yeah, I just don't know how you could guard against something like that.
Well, it's a problem that has to be solved.
You know, the remarkable thing, the blessing here is that it didn't start to tumble, and sometimes you don't mind seeing them tumble rather than a direct head-on stop.
Absolutely.
But in this case, I think it bent those front roll bars down enough. You can see how that windshield got thrust back. And that's what created this long slide. Remember, they had one of these in an IROC race at Daytona, and it slid forever. Driver came out unscathed. Here's Mike.
Ken, watching that one from pit road, and as scary as it looked, I think that the rules and the aerodynamic de-enhancements really did their job. The car did not get up on its nose and fly as Bobby, or tumble or twirl as Bobby Allison's did here a few years ago. Once it got up and over and pancaked on its roof, it stayed there and didn't come back up and over. So I think all the work they've done in the wind tunnel has really come to some good use. You couldn't keep the car from going, but it certainly settled soon and didn't go for a long while tumble.
Very good point, Mike. Very good point. As they begin to pull it away, you can see the front part of the roof has been worn out, really, as it slid down the pavement and caved in a little bit there. But thank goodness Rick Mast crawled out of the car. They have taken him to the infield care center just to check him over.
Glad to see him okay. A frustrating day for people like Bob Johnson and Claude Queen, Richard Jackson, who worked so hard to bring that car up into the lead pack early in the day.
Ford Trucks. The best never rests.
Look, everybody knows our full-size pickup's priced less than Chevy, right? Mm-hmm. That's just for starters. This study shows the F-150 will cost less to operate. And look, it'll hold its value better than Chevy. It's more than a good truck. It's a good investment.
More people are driving the best-built, best-selling American trucks than ever before.
When you get thirsty, there's one thing everybody's got to have. 'Cause deep down, we all want the same thing. The cool, crisp taste, the fluids, minerals, and energy of Gatorade.
Gatorade thirst quencher for that deep down body thirst.
It's the Craftsman Anniversary Celebration, and this half-horsepower garage door opener with 2 transmitters is priced right. And this powerful 3 1/4 horsepower wet dry vac is just $99.99. So get to Sears today.
In America, your car is not just something you own. It's a part of your life. To give your car complete protection, Texaco is introducing new Haviland Formula 3 motor oil with not one but 3 kinds of protection against heat stress, starting friction, and engine dirt. New Haviland Formula 3. Add more life to your car.
It's the Craftsman Anniversary Celebration, where this 85-piece mechanics tool set, guaranteed forever, is only $59.99. And this 19-drawer professional chest and cabinet is an exceptional value. So hurry to Sears.
This CBS Sports Special, the Die Hard 500, has been sponsored by Budweiser. With that clean, crisp, cold taste, nothing beats a Bud. First Brands Corporation, makers of STP oil treatment. And by the Die Hard battery, now with more power when you need it most.
Here's the situation in the final round of the Cannon Greater Hartford Open. Corey Pavin and Rick Fair tied for the lead at 9 under. Dan Pohl has moved to -8 along with Billy Ray Brown and Jim Gallagher Jr. Mike Reed and Ken Green both finished at -7. Now back to the Die Hard 500 in Talladega, Alabama.
Thank you. 18 laps remain here at Talladega, Alabama to decide the 23rd annual Die Hard 500. The latest incident of the day, the 6th caution period created when Buddy Baker tagged the Rick Mast car number 1 in the tri-oval and sent it upside down into the wall at over 190 miles per hour. Rick Mast is fine. He has left the infield care center already. Let's go quickly to Mike Joy.
Ken, I'm with Richard Childress, who owns Dale Earnhardt's car, standing much as we did last year, about 18 laps away from what last year was a trip to victory lane. Now, on most of the caution flags all day, you'd come in and make a stop, and I'm sure this time if you did, most of the field would, but you're staying out.
Yeah, you know, we've got enough of gas. Tires is good. The car's working good. We just looks like at 9 and 22's running awful good. We just have to race. You know, Michael's running good. Ricky. It's going to be a good race to the finish.
Well, will this be a Ford Chevy shootout? Do you expect they'll hook up? Maybe you and Ricky would hook up? Well, we're just all going to get together. I'm sure once they get to dicing around, it could be anybody's race from this point. I know Dale will do his job. Well, one thing that it's looked obvious, at least from down here, is the place to be today has been out front. It is. You know, you get hung back in that traffic and anything can happen. And, you know, we've tried to keep, you know, our thing is try to keep that track position, keep Dale out of trouble. If he's up front, he's usually out of trouble. Well, he's out front now, so it's his race to control for the moment.
As we get set to go, Mike, that leaderboard looks like a Chevy Pontiac story. Those Fords are not up in those top positions, not until 5th. There you see Earnhardt Chevrolet in 1st, followed by Ricky Rudd, then the Pontiac of Michael Waltrip, followed by Rusty Wallace and his Pontiac. Then comes Sterling Marlin, and that is the 5th position car. Back to 6th, another Ford, Bill Elliott, followed by Bobby Hillen, who's having a great day. In 8th, Davey Allison, then 9th is Waltrip, and 10th is Shepard. As we get set to turn them loose here in just a matter of moments. Here's your leader. There are still, at this time, in that lead lap, 15 automobiles. And that last 5, Ned, you see in the 10th spot right now, Darrell Waltrip. The 11th spot is Buddy Baker. The 12th spot is Mark Martin, who is really coming on. Then in the 13th spot is Joe Ruttman. 14th is Chad Little. And on the shakeout, getting ready to go, Dale Jarrett is back in 15th. Those are all in the lead lap. 1 lap down in 16th is the Alan Kowicki car.
Yeah, he's been the car that has been up front as far as those that are 1 lap down. He is in 16th place. Larry Pearson having a great run here today in 17th place. We certainly want to pass along our condolences to Larry and his entire family. David Pearson's wife Helen passed away a couple of weeks ago. Of course, David, a former winner here at Talladega, and they've gone through some trauma in the last couple of weeks. In fact, Frank Johnson, the bus driver for Larry Pearson's team, was ready to leave to come to Talladega this week, and he passed away. And then today, Larry Hedrick is the owner of that team, and his mother-in-law, Ethel Goforth, had to go in the hospital for a hip replacement. So they've had a lot of things happen in that team. We get the signal now for 1 more lap to go.
Larry Pearson having a good run again, staying 1 lap down as we get set to go. Richard Petty, another famous name, is in 18th. Here's a thought from more. We got an interview with a guy that just brought out this caution flag. Let's go to Chris Economack.
Hey, Rick, what was the view like under there?
I'll tell everybody back home I'm fine. I'm fine. Rick could be home after a while.
Here we go. Tell us what happened.
Buddy and I got together. Just one of those deals, you know, and the car got sideways. And to tell you the truth, I didn't stop before I realized what had happened. Yeah, there we are. We just, you know, it's one of those deals. We just kind of got together. The air got under the car, lifted it up, set it back down. I'm thinking, well, hope I don't start barrel rolling too many times. And then I think, well, hope nobody hits me. Yeah, that's the most vulnerable part. I see Joe did a good job. Thanks, Joe. Yeah, a little scarier out here looking at it, isn't it?
Rick, did you know that was the wall that you hit?
No, I didn't know what I hit, Ned. All I seen was sparks and oil. And
your eyes closed there?
You know, I closed them at first. I said, no, I want to see what this is. So I opened them back up, and I seen sparks and stuff, and I closed them back. I don't want to see any more. And then once it stopped, I was waiting, hoping nobody would hit me, and then just basically getting out of the car.
By your count, Rick Mast, how long did that take?
Well, getting out of the car, it seemed like, I'd say I was in there about, what, 2.5 hours, Ken? The wreck.
What about the roll cage? It looked like the front roll bar came down a little bit.
Yeah, the one right above my head did collapse, but, you know, they're made to give some. They're made to absorb energy and absorb impact.
Get your helmet banged up?
I think it's got a little nick on it, but this hard hit. It's hard to hurt my head. I'm so hard-headed. That's why Skull hired me.
Okay, thanks so much for coming by, Rick. Better luck next time.
Coming down to complete 173 laps. Ready to go green. 15 cars in the lead lap as they come to the line. 16 laps to go. Earnhardt first, Rudd second, Michael Waltrip third, Rusty Wallace fourth, Marlin in fifth as they scoot into turn number 1.
It's not a Saturday night shootout. It's a Sunday afternoon shootout at the fastest track in the world, the Talladega Superspeedway.
Here comes Martin, still getting it.
He's on the move.
Around the lap car, Richard Petty back in 18th. Sachs on the charge, and look at Martin fly.
He chose to go the inside while Buddy Baker went on the outside, and there was room down on the inside. Martin just kept getting it.
Baker coming with him, and Ruttman.
Well, Baker lost that position, chose to go behind Greg Sachs. That was not the tip. Ruttman got by him as well. There's Dale Jarrett right behind Buddy Baker, and Mark Martin still on the move. Moves around the lap car of Alan Kowicki. Now he has caught the lead draft.
Well, that's some comeback by Martin Martin.
Yeah, he had made a late pit stop on the last caution and couldn't get up to speed real early and had to run him down, but he's doing a good job of it.
The rumor is he may only have high gear in that thing, but that's sure what he needs right now, and he's pulling the right gear.
Yeah, we speculated that might have been the case on the last restart, but I don't think so now, Ken. I believe he got off to a good start on this restart, so apparently he had all the gears.
Up in front, as you watch number 6, go back to number 6 for a moment. Here is Mark Martin closing, trying to move around Morgan Shepherd's number 15. That would be for 10th. Don't forget the Greater Hartford Open, the Cannon Greater Hartford Open, next on CBS this afternoon. 175 complete. These are the cars battling for the lead. Waltrip in the 17 seems to have found a new life out here. He is shown an 8th.
Yep, he had floundered around back at the back of the lead draft and just out of harm's way of everything that was going on. And all of a sudden, when the chips are down, Waltrip is up in there.
Davey Allison in the 7th position, just in front of him in 6th, Bill Elliott. Now he's dropping back 2 or 3 more positions. Up in front, Earnhardt in front, Rudd in 2nd. And here to the outside goes car number 30, and there's no place to go. We'll take a commercial break here and then be with you right to the finish of the 23rd annual Die Hard 500.
When you train for the U.S. Olympic team, state-of-the-art becomes standard. With standard equipment like this. And Nuprin. This state-of-the-art equipment helps improve technique and muscle strength. And when pain strikes, Nuprin stops that pain where it hurts. Nuprin works right at the site of pain, right where you hurt. Nuprin, standard equipment of the 1992 U.S. Olympic team.
This bench gets a professional finish with Krylon spray paint. No runs, no drips, no errors. Dries to the touch in minutes. The other brand's still tacky. Wow! What a game!
Good game, Mr. Euchre.
He's a lot tougher than he looks. For a fast, smooth, professional finish, get Krylon.
First, toothpaste came in tubes, then in unsqueezable pumps. Now, there's Neat Squeeze from Crest. Squeezes easily like a tube with the control of a pump and a pullback feature that makes brushing a lot less messy and a lot more fun. The new Neat Squeeze from Crest.
They ate the same lunch, got the same heartburn, but his antacid is very different. His Tums has calcium. Most antacids don't. Regular Rolaids uses an aluminum salt. This uses aluminum and magnesium. So does this. Of all these, only Tums helps wipe out heartburn and gives you calcium you need every day.
Something my body needs anyway. I like that.
Calcium-rich Tums. That's the one you want.
There are 10 laps to go. The field has remained stable, with the exception of Buddy Baker slowing down in the past few moments. Everybody else is just running nose to tail, getting ready, preparing for the finish of the Die Hard 500. Up in front, Earnhardt is in the lead, Rudd is in 2nd. Michael Waltrip's number 30 is right there. Rusty Wallace, Sterling Marlin, Davey Allison, Bill Elliott, Darrell Waltrip, all gathered together to decide this race. And there's a piece of debris out there.
There is on the backstretch.
Let's go to Neil Bonnet. Yellow is coming out.
Again, this yellow's probably going to throw a different complexion in it, but I was talking to these crews about strategy and everything, and they're leaving it up to the drivers. And I think what you're going to see when we're in this big single file, any one of them is afraid to make a move. The only guy that can make the move is the one that's in the rear that doesn't have a price to pay. I felt like what would happen, one guy make a move, then everyone else react. Once one guy makes that move, I think everybody will react at one time. Chris, we'll get in there and see what yours thinks in on it.
Well, just a few moments ago, Mark Martin came by, went down on the apron to improve himself by about 4 or 5 positions. Whatever was wrong with his car has suddenly healed up. I think he is going to be a real threat if there's enough laps left.
He has really turned it on in the last 15 laps. Just about counted out. He had a tire go down. He had to catch up with the field, and he's run him down, and this caution's going to put him right back in it to win. Mickey clean up a couple of pieces of debris on the back side of the racetrack, and then it will be business as usual. A typical Talladega finish is assured. To Mike Joy with Waddell Wilson.
He's talking to his driver, Ricky Rudd, getting set to run this one down. Waddell has long been the horsepower king here at Talladega. There are enough suds left in that Chevrolet for Ricky to get Dale.
Well, we're sitting in a good spot. Ricky and I have talked about it, and, you know, we want to stay right there behind Earnhardt to the last lap. Then we've talked about, you know, the right place to pull out. Running fast enough, it's going to be hard for one-on-one to go. But if he does it like I've seen him do it in the past, we got a shot at him. But, you know, hopefully we can still stay second right to the end. And then we can pull out.
Now they're hoping that the videotapes of those past races are going to help as it comes down to the checker.
Another lap under caution. This will really put the pressure on for the finish. The man the pressure is on is the man who bears the pressure so well. Number 3, Earnhardt on the point. Behind him, you see that number 5 of Ricky Rudd, and then the number 30 of Michael Waltrip, struggling over the years for that first victory. It could be here. Then the man that won last week at Pocono, Pennsylvania, Rusty Wallace with the new Roger Penske team, lies there in 4th. They've had a big shakeup in that team. Harold Elliott, their engine builder, has left to join Travis Carter and Jimmy Spencer for the remainder of the year. That Rusty Wallace car is in 4th, and Sterling Marlin, Columbia, Tennessee campaigner in that Ford that started on the pole, will be 5th on the restart. In the 6th position is Davey Allison. I need to tell you, if you're a racing fan, about Davey Allison over the past month. It's been an incredible 30 days since we came to Memorial Day at Charlotte, North Carolina. It's been a Davey Allison celebration. Following Davey Allison in 6th will be Bill Elliott, and of course he just won that last race with the restrictor plate, the Pepsi 400, July 6th down at Daytona Beach, Florida. Behind him is Darrell Waltrip. And you know that there's a fox in the henhouse when he's in the lead lap. Gets down to these final moments. Mike Joy.
The Talladega tradition of first-time winners, and the fellow who's never won yet, flying 3rd, Phil Ingles driver Mike Waltrip.
Well, I tell you what, we're sitting here 3rd. We got a few things going for us. The numbers today, we qualified 13th. We're in the 13th pit. We got about 4 or 5 guys from Kentucky, you know, where Michael's from, working with us. We got a lot of things going for us. Michael just bought another 74 Cadillac this weekend, like he did when he won his first Busch race. So we're going for it. You know, we're sitting here 3rd. We hadn't won one of these things, so we're either going to win, finish 3rd, or be way back. We're going for it.
Okay, let's go up pit road to Neil Bonnet.
Yeah, Mike, we're here with Jimmy Makar, crew chief for Rusty Wallace, and I jumped up on the wall here, and you said you and Rusty are talking back and forth what to do. Give us a tip. What do you do right now?
I'll tell you, there's about 3 or 4 different ways to go on this thing. We're pretty much sitting in the catbird seat, I believe. You know, there's a couple cars in front of us. I believe we're going to make some moves here in the next few laps, and depending on what they do, Rusty's going to make his mind up when they make theirs up. So I think we're sitting in a pretty good spot. Something's going to happen. I think we're going to be right there behind it, ready to make a move of our own.
Ken, these guys just like to roll with the punches, see what to do when they make the move.
And rolling from 9th position will be car number 6, Mark Martin. He is going to be a factor the way he's been flying over those past few laps.
Talk about factors. You wonder how much of a factor Alan Kulwicki might play in all of this. He's a lap down, but he has a very fast race car. Now, he had sort of moved out of the way and had dropped back behind those in the lead draft there before, but he's got a position to protect himself. There are 3, 4 cars sitting there that are a lap down that he has to outrun. Richard Petty, or 3 cars really, Richard Petty and Larry Pearson. So he can't afford to back off too much, but it could play a factor.
Speed has been curtailed to 146.9 miles per hour, well off the record of 186. Understand that they may bring in Ernie Irvin's car. It may have thrown some parts off. We're getting down to a restart here with 182 complete when they come to the line. Light is off on the pace car. It'll skip down onto pit road in just a second.
Well, we saw some debris over there on the racetrack. It was an air cleaner off the car. Air cleaner didn't come off any of these cars. It's got hoods on them.
With a hood on them?
It had to come off Ernie Irvin's car.
15 cars in the lead lap. Joe Ruttman on the tail end running 15th. 14th is the Buddy Baker car. 13th as they come to the line is Chad Little. In that 12th spot is the 21 Jarrett. 11th is the 42 Hillen. 10th, 15 Shepard. 6 to go and they're under green. The break into turn 1. Earnhardt stays right there, steady as a rock.
Ricky Rudd stays glued to it. And Al Quick, he's not going to get up there and fight with these guys. All he needs to do is outrun Richard Petty. His chances of winning this race are gone. He realizes that. Richard Petty's sitting back there running in 18th position, a lap down. But they're going to stay out of the way of those front runners. And there goes the front runners by on the outside. They're giving him plenty of running room up there.
And once they clear that number 7, that lap car, then we'll begin to see those cars in the lead lap begin to double up and fight it out as Wallace now finds himself pinned. Coming up to the inside comes number 22, Sterling Marlin. Marlin challenging for third. Wallace trying to throw a block on Waldrop as they came to the tri-oval that time. The hot tip here is to stay wide and try to gather it all and look at this fight. Earnhardt stays in front. Rudd in second. In third is Sterling Marlin in the back straightaway. Here comes Davey Allison. We know he has the horsepower. Can he carry it up through? Riding with Davey Allison backside. He decides to go up through with Sterling Marlin. They're going underneath Ricky Rudd.
It's a Ford Chevrolet battle right now, folks, and you can bet your bottom dollar they will work together. The Fords will work together, and the Chevrolets will work together. But when it comes down to it, whoever it takes to win the race, you work with that one that you think gives you the best shot at it.
Shuffle is on. Here's Davey Allison working the bottom of the racetrack, going for the lead. Here they come to the line. 184 complete, 4 to go. Earnhardt stays in first. And guess who's coming up on the bottom of the racetrack? Directly behind number 28 is 17. Here's the 6 car of Mark Martin. He has scooted around number 30. In that battle, that's further back now. That's 6th position. Look at Darrell Waltrip.
He can hardly see. The windshield is cracked. The windshield is dirty. It's pitted, but he's given it all he has.
And jumping up around him comes that number 6 of Mark Martin.
Look at Darrell. He had a notion to go in the middle of his brother Michael, but Michael gets out of the way, down way up on the outside. What's scrambling around? The chips are down.
Earnhardt first. Here comes Davey Allison to the inside. And you can hear the roar of the crowd over the thunder of the motors as they come to the line.
There's 3 laps to go.
Davey Allison out in front, a Ford on the inside, Chevrolet on the outside for $740,000. Here we go. Backside, 3 laps to go. Earnhardt comes back. Allison stays with him. They almost touch, and here comes Bill Elliott up on the outside.
Just nowhere to go for some of those cars. Davey now caught down there, can't keep up. The momentum Earnhardt had coming off of that turn just to let him drive on the way.
And the last laps are looking like the first laps. Earnhardt back in front. Here they come down out of turn 4. Bill Elliott right there in second. Remember, Elliott won the last restrictor plate race, the Pepsi 400 at Daytona. And guess who's there? Car number 6 has made it all up. Mark Martin thunders into third. Ricky Rudd is in fourth.
Just 2 laps to go. It'll be 1 to go when they come back. Look back here at Darrell Waltrip right behind this pack. He's making a 3 deep coming off the turn. There we can see him as they jockey around. Just look at him fight for a place to go on the racetrack.
Meanwhile, up in front, Bill Elliott closes in. He's won here before. Look at this battle.
Dale Jarrett on the outside, Davey Allison in the middle. They've bypassed Darrell Waltrip, Morgan Shepherd down on the inside. All of these positions are worth big money and points.
That's
white flag coming up.
That is for 5th position. Here are the front 4. Last lap is underway. Earnhardt looking for his 51st win, his 29th Superspeedway win. Can he stay there? Here's Elliott in the 9. Chevy in front. Ford in second. Ford in third. Chevrolet in fourth. At 195 miles an hour, they approach the 3rd and 4th turn for the final time. Dale Earnhardt just shovels it in, turns it sideways, feels that car just begin to lift under him a little, and he pulls away by a car length. Here come the Fords, closing on the outside. Mark Martin now trying to help Bill Elliott. As they close, here they come to the tri-oval. The final few moments of the race. Here's Elliott coming up to the high side. He's not going to make it. He comes to the inside. He's pulled a throw to the inside that did not work. It was too late. Dale Earnhardt has done it again.
Wow, what a race.
He He's as good as you say he is. I mean, he is just spectacular. Earnhardt had it figured, and Elliott made a brilliant move in the last 1,000 feet as he threw to the outside, then pitched to the inside.
Let's see it again.
Almost had him. Look at this.
He just could not muster enough speed to move around. He moved down to the inside. He really didn't have anybody drafted real well with him right there.
If the 6 would have come with him, wow, it would have been by inches. As it was, for the 2nd straight year, for the 4th time, the Die Hard 500 is won by Dale Earnhardt. The Richard Childress crew have done it again. A spectacular finish to a great race. Taking a look at the final standings, Earnhardt first, Elliott second, Mark Martin comes across third, Ricky Rudd was in fourth, and Sterling Marlin was in fifth. Earnhardt averaging some 146 miles an hour on a very slow Die Hard 500. And so